Arrows and the 4-2 first-place Ottawa REDBLACKS.
At 30 years young, McLeod Bethel Thompson gets his first CFL start. His career to date has been an exercise in patience and persistence. But Mark Trestman told us yesterday he's earned an opportunity with the Argos trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. That opportunity is tonight. Bethel Thompson and Ottawa's quarterback Trevor Harris are actually old friends, teammates years ago in the United Football League. Harris's 49th start tonight in the CFL. He's led the REDBLACKS to a 4-2 start and first place in the East Division.
His head coach, the only head coach the REDBLACKS have ever had. There's Rick Campbell, 5th season. Finest moment of his head coaching career, to be sure, came right here at BMO Field 2 years ago, winning Grey Cup 104 over Calgary. Mark Trestman with a similar memory in Ottawa last November. This is second season, 9-9 a year ago. They got off to a 4-7 start and then started to bounce back. He needs a big bounce back for this team. 1-5 coming off another loss to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers last week at Investors Group Field. Ottawa winning the toss. They want the football. There's Deontay Spencer, Luchez Purifoy standing beside him. So Spencer, Purifoy for the return, and it is Zach Medeiros who won a Grey Cup with Ottawa 2 years ago on this very field, and now has been called in with the injury to Ronnie Peffer last week in Winnipeg. So Medeiros back in the CFL, the punt to kick tonight, and again Thursday night football underway here at BMO Field in Toronto. It's heading Purifoy's way down at the 15. Luchez Purifoy up the left side and taken down up across the 35, where Trevor Harris and that Ottawa offense will go to work.
Completion percentage for Trevor Harris this year, 64.4%, over 1,500 yards passing. Told us yesterday that he wants to clear up one issue, and that's red zone production. 7 scoring drives last week turned into 7 field goals.
Interesting, because Lewis Ward, their kicker, the rookie, was 7 for 7. That's the great part of the story. You're right. The bad part is they just weren't cashing in. So here we go now for Harris and the Ottawa REDBLACKS, the first place team in the East, and a quick toss inside there to Spencer. Using that speed, Deontay Spencer, who is taken down by Jermaine Gabriel, but not before a good first down gain.
Yeah, Frank Beltre here tried to step up and cut this off, but he's coming from the left of your screen, Deontay Spencer, and around he goes. Watch 94 step up, but just not quite far enough. So he bubbles outside of that defensive end, and Beltre, and then picks up nice yards in the first play of this game.
Spencer had a good first game against Saskatchewan, but has slowed down offensively. 204 yards receiving, including a 56-yard touchdown, but that time on the ground, 8 yards, 2nd and 2. Handing off to William Powell, the second leading rusher in the Canadian Football League, and he bulls his way forward for a first down REDBLACKS.
I talk about guys that production has dropped a little bit. It certainly hasn't been Brad Sinopoli. His has been bang on and second in the league in receiving behind Duke Williams of the Edmonton Eskimos. But the guy who has dropped off a little bit in the last 3 games is William Powell. We'll see if they can get him going in that running game, and that means Alex Mateus, who Rick Campbell told us yesterday was graded out better than any O-lineman on their team.
Harris throwing on first down, throwing deep too, and has a target. It's Deontay Spencer. Big play, REDBLACKS inside the Ottawa or Toronto 20-yard line, so now comes the red zone offense. Gain of 43 yards for Spencer.
Deontay Spencer to the right of your screen gets inside position on Darby here. The foot race is on, and Spencer, big play out of the gate.
Working tempo, giving it to Powell on that first down. After that 43-yard gain for Spencer. This last week especially is where Ottawa had trouble. Glenn, you talked about it. We take a look at the Argonaut defense here.
Sack leader is Cleon Lang in the middle. That's unusual. Usually it's a defensive end, but Lang's off to a good start. Justin Tuggle's been named by his teammates the captain for this game in the middle. Once again, Bear Woods very close to returning to the lineup. In different secondary now. TJ Heath traded to Montreal, so that means 2 changes. Tremaine Washington on the corner, Ronnie Yell to halfback.
2nd down and 8 after the 2-yard gain by Powell. Harris. End zone look, and a touchdown just like that. No trouble in the red zone this time, and the favorite target this season for Trevor Harris is Brad Sinopoli, putting the REDBLACKS on the board.
Good tempo, good pace for this Ottawa offense. They love to go with that tempo, get in and out of the huddle quickly, sometimes not even huddling, and it gets the defense they're facing to start to scramble a little bit and maybe not get as deep as they need to be, not get into their drops and where they need to be. And Trevor Harris takes advantage of it to the hot receiver in Brad Sinopoli. I mean, forget about passports. Brad Sinopoli's number 2 in the CFL.
And for all the trouble Ottawa had last week in Hamilton finding the end zone, they made it look easy on this. A 5-play, 75-yard drive. Touchdown, Harris to Sinopoli. Going for 2. Handing off to Brendan Galanders, the ex-Argo, who bowls his way in for a 2-point conversion you don't see as much with a run straight ahead. Galanders in and an 8-0 Ottawa lead. Brad Sinopoli, leading receiver in catches, second leading to Duke Williams in yardage, and a big catch there to give Ottawa the lead over the Argos on their very first possession. Thursday Night Football presented by The Brick on TSN. They had the 2-point conversion by Galanders and the Red Blacks. The first place team in the East, the only team in the East with a winning record, coming in at 4-2. Richie Leone to kick off for Ottawa, and back for it Martise Jackson and Levi Noel, who takes the ball at his 20. Noel, and working his way up across to about the 35, where there's a bunch of Red Blacks. A meeting there, so on comes McLeod Bethel Thompson for his first CFL start. Came to the Argos last year, threw 2 passes, completed them both for 10 yards, but this, Glenn, is really the beginning.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, coming out of training camp, it was real close between McLeod Bethel Thompson and James Franklin as to who would be number 2 behind Ricky Ray. In fact, when Ray went down in week 2, Mark Trestman said it's really a coin flip as to who I'm going to play next. They started with Franklin. Franklin went 1-3, and now it's McLeod's opportunity.
And passing in first down and finding Malcolm Williams, the Canadian from the Langley Rams, in his second year, with a first down right away and a good start for Bethel Thompson.
Now, Bethel Thompson, who is he? He's a guy who has been very patient throughout his career. Started at UCLA, ended up at Sacramento State, same school as Ricky Ray. And then you can see multiple NFL opportunities that didn't work out for him.
And handing off to James Wilder Jr. as they work tempo, and a good gain by Wilder to get it across midfield.
Well, the good news for the Argo offense is they did get a little running game going as a team, over 150 yards last week. 82 of those yards, or 81 I should say, against Winnipeg for James Wilder. So maybe that's him turning the corner. Starts up front with Sean McEwen making those calls and stunt calls, so that offensive line can give Bethel Thompson some time.
And he stands in and he fires, and that one is incomplete on that 2nd and 5. So with that, the Argos and Medeiros will be coming on to punt.
Well, he had S.J. Green on a deep crossing route there and missed him. Again, Mark Trestman telling us that he's earned the respect of his teammates with his work habits. Got a big arm. Like all the throws in the book. He's trying to figure out what went wrong there.
Spencer back. Medeiros, 27-year-old from Western Ontario. As I said, used to kick for Ottawa in 2016. Spencer, who used to return for the Argos, now with Ottawa and getting it up to the 15. Back comes Harris. What a great start for him. And that 5-play 8-0 Ottawa early on. Trevor Harris and the Red Blacks about to start their second possession. Impressive first possession, driving down for that Sinopoli touchdown. After the return by Spencer, getting it up near the 15. Harris on first down, looking off to his left, another completion. First catch of the game for R.J. Harris. And a second down.
Deontay Spencer on that last punt fielded it around the 5-yard line. That's put Ottawa in a bit of a hole. If he lets that bounce and go into the end zone, might be a single and better field position, but we'll see if Trevor Harris can work his way out of that hole.
9th catch of the season for R.J. Harris. And a 2nd and 6. Red Blacks. Thought about going to his right, couldn't, under pressure, and he is taken down. The Argos with the sack. Troy Davis, Dylan Winter there. And just like that, and Suits, you talk about field position, the Argos should enjoy good field position coming up with the punt from Leone. Should come from around his end zone, just inside.
Great push by the entire defensive line. I'm going to look at Beltre here too, but watch how it's just basic bull rush by all 4 and they're just pushing that pocket back into the lap of Trevor Harris. He really had no chance to step into a throw there. His only chance was to try and escape outside, and they had him contained.
So Leone right around his goal line. Martese Jackson back for the Argos. One of the top punters in the Canadian Football League, as he was with BC a few years ago. Picked up there by Matt Webster. And the flag is down for no yards as well after a punt by Leone of only 33 yards. So yes, indeed, the Argos will have good field position. McLeod Bethel Thompson, 1 for
9 or 10 quarterbacks that S.J. Green has had. So he says he's kind of numb to the situation. Now, that's not any kind of criticism of the offense or the Argos or the quarterback situation, but he says, my job is to be on time, be prepared, and be ready so that the quarterback knows where I'm going to be. With respect to Bethel Thompson, the fact is S.J. Green doesn't necessarily think that he has to do anything spectacular, although that may not be a good thing, guys.
No, indeed. An interception by Rico Murray, his 3rd pick of the season, and so on just his 3rd pass, McLeod Bethel Thompson is picked off.
Yeah, 3rd pick of the season, and Rico Murray has to go down. Now let's see Bethel Thompson if he telegraphs this a little bit, takes a peek out to his left. I mean, it's a quick throw and a quick out, so you know that the Ottawa secondary, with a guy in his first start, I remember playing against guys in their first start. You play aggressively, you jump their first look, you force them to play above their years of experience and try and look off DBs. It's a mistake that Bethel Thompson wants back, you can guarantee it. Good
pick, too. Make sure it didn't touch the turf by Rico Murray, and a completion there to Sinopoli.
Interesting too to me that yesterday in a conversation we had with Bethel Thompson, he said that in the preseason he threw 2 picks in the 2nd preseason game, and he felt like that was the difference between James Franklin getting the first start after Ricky Ray and him. He owned it and took full accountability, but an early pick here, he's got to shake now.
Gain of 6. Sinopoli, who has the touchdown in this game. Throwing deep again. Harris for Spencer. And he has it again at the Toronto 40. A great catch right near the sideline for Deontay Spencer, who's having a very good first half. Well, gain of 31. Sorry, Suits.
Yeah, he's just running the go route there. That's the 2nd time in a row that it's nothing fancy. It's Alden Darby and Deontay Spencer one-on-one and just running by him.
And now Justin Tuggle has come up with the football. A turnover here going back on that interception for the Toronto Argonauts. So just like that, when Ottawa looked to be rolling again, another turnover, the 2nd of this game, goes Toronto's way.
Wow. In our top 50 list this year.
Still projects to over 1,000 yards, but you're right, not at the pace that we saw last year or the year before. So it's James Wilder with the ball. And a good gain, Argos, on that first down. About 9 yards Wilder picks up.
Take a look at the Ottawa defense. Mike Wakefield up front leads their team. The front 7 with 3 sacks so far in the campaign. You go back to linebacking crew. No Kyrie Bear, lower body injury for him. So Avery Williams starts in the middle, and in the back end, it's all controlled and run by their leader in defensive plays and tackles back in the back end, and Antoine Pruneau, their safety.
And with that spot up near the 46, more than 9, close to the 10, close enough to measure. And what help would that be, as the guys talked about before, for McLeod Bethel Thompson, if they can establish a running game with James Wilder here.
Well, and I like the play call right after the pick. Go to the run game, let them get back out there and settle down a little bit before they're putting them in another 2nd and long situation. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little more James Wilder on this drive.
Gain of 10. His last game here at BMO a couple of weeks ago against Winnipeg, his rushing yardage was -2. Incredible to think about, given what we've seen from Wilder in the past year. That was more like it, and he gets the ball again, and this time that's Avery Williams moving in and gets him for next to nothing.
Boy, it's a young linebacking core for the Red Blacks. I mean, Avery Williams is 23 years old out of Temple. Anthony Chaffee beside him had a big game last week. He's just 23 years old out of Rutgers.
So 2nd and 8 after that 2-yard gain. Passing down Bethel Thompson, and he's got Armani Edwards, but not nearly enough for the first down up across the Toronto 50. So Zach Medeiros will be coming out after this Toronto drive stalls to punt it away.
Well, you know, you always want to try and take advantage of turnovers with points off turnovers, but both these teams failed to do that. Both got a turnover, both didn't capitalize on them.
Ottawa's had some big plays, though, to Deontay Spencer. That one got them in Argo territory, but you're right, the turnover they couldn't. That'll be 15 yards on that no yards penalty. Spencer taking that one in the air.
Make your getaway with intelligent all-wheel drive in the 2018 Nissan Qashqai.
Trevor Harris 7 for 7 and 122 yards. We have seen great Trevor Harris this year, and in particular the 2 games against Calgary we've really seen a different side, one that he wants to move on from now.
Yeah, and that was a fumble. Now there's a penalty on this return that's going back.
Holding Ottawa number 89. Major foul, unnecessary roughness, face mask. Ottawa number 21. Both fouls are applied. First down.
Back in that hole we were talking about, it's important now for Trevor Harris to go right back to Greg Ellingson. It's an interesting one, because if you're ranked 8th in the league or in the top 10, you're not having a terrible season, but Ellingson on pace for just over 1,000 yards this year. Last year had 1,459. That's below what we're used to seeing from Ellingson, and now he's dropped one, although give some credit to Marcus Ball for stripping it out of there.
So not a no yards, actually a double penalty on that return for Ottawa, and once again they start a drive deep in their own zone. This one at the 5, up by 8. William Powell, left side, and the Argos do a nice job of stringing that out and pushing him back. Troy Davis is there. Remain Washington too.
Do they ever, Rod? I mean, that's exactly what they do there. I mean, this is great team defense to just be patient, stretch it out, make William Powell turn to the sideline rather than north-south. And once you do that, we've said it many times, or at least I have, that you get the running back going laterally, not down the field, you've won. You've won on defense. William Powell's production has dropped off in the last 3 weeks in a big way.
Big down here. Argos may get another crack with good field position if Ottawa can't convert on the 2nd and 10. Harris completes his pass, not enough for the first down. RJ Harris. So the Argo defense does its job again inside the 10, and this time Richie Leone definitely will be faced with punting it from his end zone.
Yeah, and it's almost in that area where Rick Campbell probably gives up 2 here. Yeah. So early in the game, we're still in the first quarter. Going to give Toronto instant field goal position, basically, or at least maybe one first down away from it.
Martese Jackson back for it. Leone about 5 yards deep in his end zone. Will he just take a knee?
No.
Going to punt it away. Put it in the hands of McLeod, Bethel Thompson, but first it goes into the hands of Jackson inside the 45 for a 43-yard punt and a great return. Martese Jackson almost gone, taken down by Kevin Brown inside the 5. It'll be first and goal for Bethel Thompson and the Argos.
I'm surprised by the decision. You give up 2 there, you get the field position back, and even if Martese Jackson just moves up about 7 yards from here, they're in field goal range already for 3 points, and it looks like it could be more.
So a 46-yard return after a 43-yard punt, and Kevin Brown saves the day, or at least forces the Argos to earn that touchdown with McLeod, Bethel Thompson coming in.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not a big fan of the giving up of 2 points
right
in the safety, but
under the circumstances,
sometimes it's the right strategy. That's not a good sign at all. That's their leader in defensive plays, as I mentioned, which is a good and a bad thing. Good because you've got a great safety in Antoine Pruneau. Not so good when your safety's leading the defense in tackles, although he does come down low a ton and play in the box.
Ottawa's leading tackler, Antoine Pruneau.
There he is right there, diving for the tackle here. Full effort always from Pruneau, and he lands with that right arm underneath. Looked like maybe a shoulder, possibly elbow, but we'll take a look. He got that right arm right underneath and twisted.
And with Pruneau going out, Justin Howell, the rookie out of Carleton, drafted in the 7th round, 55th overall, number 21, has come in to play safety.
Yeah, it looks like it's wrist they're stabilizing, so we'll see. They can tape that up.
So Howell is in for Pruneau. First and goal, Argos, down 8-0. Greatest chance yet for Bethel Thompson. And keeping it to Wilder, who grinds out a yard, maybe 2, down closer to the goal line, but still not in, and second and goal.
Well, they'll bring the big boys in here, and now James Franklin is the short yardage quarterback. It used to be McLeod Bethel Thompson. And the short yardage on the 1-yard line, they bring in Franklin,
who's already scored 4 touchdowns this season, one of the leaders in touchdowns in the Canadian Football League, all in situations like this for James Franklin. Second and goal. Goes left side, crosses the goal line, and an Argo touchdown, but a flag is down as well.
Offside, Ottawa, number 95. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
So it doesn't matter. And the Toronto Argonauts at home here at BMO are on the board, 2 points shy of tying this game up.
And looks like Mark Trestman's decided to go for 1 instead of 2 to tie it early in this game. Off the left side for James Franklin, behind Tyler Holmes and William Campbell.
And so the first placement we will see from Zach Medeiros, coming in for the injured Ronnie Peffer, handling the punting and the kicks. A former Ottawa Red Black, to make it an 8-7 game.
Time count violation. Toronto, number 14. 5-yard penalty will retry.
Oh, put a little more pressure on the kid for this single. Another 5 yards back.
Yeah, a few years ago they moved it back, so they needed a 32-yard try, and now, I mean, this is respectable field goal range now. Certainly far from being a gimme. No. Yeah. 37 yards away from Medeiros, who's split the uprights beautifully on that conversion. With Bethel Thompson holding, and yes, indeed it is a 1-point game. McLeod Bethel Thompson gets the start. James Franklin, after 4 starts, has to sit. Any acrimony between the two? Not in your life. Here's what McLeod Bethel Thompson had to say about it.
We've been thrown in this thing together, and we talked at the beginning of training camp and said no matter what happens, they're gonna, it's gonna be me versus you, but we can't make it me versus you as a person. It's me versus you as a football player, and not even to say that it's me versus him. It's us trying to be the best possible team that we can be. So obviously it's not easy for him right now, and I feel for him, but we're close and we'll stay that way no matter football, is beside the point.
And don't get the smiles and everything wrong when it comes to James Franklin. He's disappointed that it didn't turn out better in his 4 starts. And Mark Trestman told us yesterday he's not giving up on Franklin by any stretch of the imagination. Probably see him again in a game before long. But he said McLeod Bethel Thompson has earned this opportunity. Coming out of training camp, how he prepares every week. And with a 1-3 start, was time to make a change.
Medeiros kicks it to Luchez Purifoy out across the 35. Good kick return Purifoy up near the 40 for Harris and the Ottawa Redblacks offense. They've had a couple of big drives, aided with some big passes to Deontay Spencer's had quite a half. One of them led to a touchdown for Brad Sinopoli. Another one after an Ellingson catch led to a fumble in Argo football.
Yeah, last week Deontay Spencer just 4 catches for 18 yards. So obviously they took a look at that video and decided, hey, we can get the ball in our speedster's hands, a guy that can stretch the defense a little more often. They've done that tonight. Trevor Harris is 8 for 8.
And 3 of those going to Spencer for 82 yards. Throwing again, it's Sinopoli, who had the touchdown earlier, and another great gain and a great season as that helmet comes off for Brad Sinopoli of the Redblacks, who gets it across the Argo 45.
Tell you what, Brad Sinopoli, first of all, one of the reasons he's having such a great season is he's got that time and space awareness. He reminds me the way he's playing this year a little bit of Fantus and how Fantus played. Just knew where to be and when to be there, and he leads the league in yak yards after the catch.
Leading in receptions too coming into this game. Has a few. William Powell left side, Tuggle among the group. Dylan Wynn too taking him down.
I mean, Brad Sinopoli, when he finds that soft spot, you've talked about it many times. We have many times about the fact that he's a former quarterback, so that helps him. But I think he's doing it more so this year than I've ever seen him. I mean, not just a relief curl or 10-yard in or out route. I mean, he is finding soft spots, and then when he gets it in his hands, he's making the most of it with great yards after the catch.
Coming in averaging more than 7 catches per game, and he's got 3 so far in this one. Throwing on second down. And it's Brendan Galanders who scored the 2-point convert on the ground earlier with his first catch of the day. And Harris is distributing that football, a gain of 13 for Ottawa.
Yeah, he's locked in. You can see he's wearing the knee brace, knocked out of the game against Calgary. The only 2 losses for Ottawa this year were against the Calgary Stampeders, who haven't lost all season.
Well, the way the league's going right now at this point, a loss to the Stampeders is the most understandable one, to be sure. And Ottawa, yes, playing them twice early in the year. Harris is 10 for 10. Make it 11 for 11 as they set up the screen to Galanders, who works it away with a flag coming down, ball inside the 20.
But when you take a look at Trevor Harris's season, 3 of the 5 games that he's played.
There is no infraction on this play. The pass was completed behind the line of scrimmage. Play results in second.
Take a look at the pressure. Three of the 5 games that he's played have been over 300 yards passing. Mentioned that one game he was knocked out of against Calgary, but late pressure trying to set up that screen, double screen really.
On second down and short after that 9-yard gain for Galanders. And another first down. Dominic Davis, the backup quarterback, in for that one. So Ottawa's threatening again. Last time they got this deep, they did pick up a touchdown, something they couldn't do last week against the Tiger Cats. And that was the final play of the first quarter, and a close quarter it is. Turnover, special teams helping the Argos. As said, the special teams play keeping them close in this, but Harris has been outstanding for Ottawa. And they start the second quarter inside the 20 at the Argos 16. Harris handing off to William Powell. Chasing him down is the middle linebacker Justin Tuggle, just shy of the 10.
Yeah, I mentioned William Powell. He got off to a great start to the season. His first 3 games outstanding. Looks like he's a little banged up now. Getting up slowly, and they're going to bring the training staff in. That means he's got to leave for at least 3 plays. Ottawa fans holding their breath. He's okay. I mean, it's really just a matter of when you look at the last 3 So you look and see what happened to him. But if you look at the last three, it's just a matter of teams now game planning to try and stop him, trying to make Ottawa one-dimensional because of his great first 3 games where he has 55 carries, 355 yards. That's a good 6.5 yard average. Now look at the last 3. Now teams have game planned to try and stop William Powell. So now it's up to Ottawa to counter that move with trying to get him the ball in different ways. And one of the ways they've done that is through the air and the little swing passes. But it looks like he'll be able to walk this off, or at least we hope so.
In the meantime, Brendan Gallanders, who was drafted by the Argos out of the University of Ottawa, and then went back to the Red Blacks, and has actually had a few touches in this game so far. Gallanders with a carry, and he's had a catch, and he also had a run in for a 2-point conversion, and he is the running back right now on this 2nd and 5 of the Toronto 11, the 7th play of the drive for the Red Blacks, threatening to open up their lead again. End zone look, Harris, and he wanted R.J. Harris. Abdul Kenna with the coverage, and a flag is down in the Argonaut end zone.
Boy, live, that looked like a pretty clean play. But let's take a look.
Defensive pass interference, Toronto, number 29. This took place in goal. Ball will be placed at the 1 yard line, automatic first down.
The ball's on the 16, so it's not as punitive as it can be when you throw or you get a PI call in the end zone and you're way out. But there was a grab to the wrist, not allowing Harris to continue to the football. That did affect the play. You see, he didn't let go of that wrist in time. You can hand fight, but you can't grab it and pull.
First and goal at the 1. Dominic Davis in, punching it into the end zone, and another Ottawa touchdown. So they take advantage of that penalty, the PI against Abdul Kenna, and Ottawa is back in front by 7 right now, pending the conversion.
Take a look at the push by the big boys up front. Off that right side a little bit, actually right over the top. I like to do this about this time of the year and ask coaches, who's grading out the best on your offensive line? And Rick Campbell told me it was Alex Mateus. He's been so consistent and good up front at center. And you can see how he has got to call the different fronts. He's taking a look at the blitz that may be coming on this convert.
They went for 2 before. They go for 2 a lot. And that time, a slip. You just see the difference in the turf. We've talked about this before. Greg Ellingson slipping. It goes from natural grass to artificial. Not to make an excuse for him, but you can tell there are situations where it is a factor. And he slips there on an attempt to get 2 more points in the board for the Red Blacks.
Yeah, I don't think he was in the end zone yet when he made that cut. It looked like to me he was on the grass still.
Oh, he was still. Excuse me. So it was not a factor in that play.
And you know, and from what I've heard, they're working on it. They're working on a solution for that. They'll get there. But again, I like how you preface it. It's not an excuse. Both teams understand the conditions, and I see players just like that slip on the field, just in the middle of the field as well. So I mean, it's not a.
Fair enough. He did slip on the natural grass, and the replay made that clear. And that looked when they were close to another 2-point conversion to go up 16-7. So as it stands, a 7-point lead for Ottawa now in the touchdowns for Sinopoli, and that one by Dominic Davis in short yardage. With Richie Leone, the Ottawa kicker and punter. The punter handling the kickoff duties with Lewis Ward looking after the field goals.
What a game for him.
Last week, 7 for 7, accounting for all 21 of the Red Blacks points in their victory over the Ticats. Back for Levi Noel, and he is met very abruptly by Avery Williams on teams, taking him down at the 30-yard line for the Argos after a 23-yard return. Thursday night football presented by the Brick keeps rolling along. Later on tonight, special live mic broadcast. Get inside the huddle with the Rough Riders and Eskimos and experience the game like never before. Plus, don't miss a halftime performance by Juno Award winning rapper Jazz Cartier. Catch it at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific across the TSN network. And a reminder, we have Cardinal Official as the Thursday night concert series continues here at BMO Field at the half. Right now in the second quarter, early on, James Wilder on that carry, right side. Picks up 4 yards for the Argos.
Pretty soon we're going to have to see McLeod Bethel Thompson step into some throws here and try to move the chain. You start to wonder, I mean, Mark Trestman is going to give him some time to work himself out of it, to settle in. It's his first start. He understands that, like he did James Franklin. He doesn't pull quarterbacks quickly.
Franklin had 4 starts, record of 1 and 3. There's the first catch of the day for S.J. Green, the leading receiver on the Toronto Argonauts this season.
Yeah, nice throw over the middle. Not a real tough throw to make. Got a good sight line and hits S.J. where the X meets the spot right there.
And a gain of 8 and a first down for Bethel Thompson and the Argos.
He wants to get some confidence. Lean on that guy. Lean on 19.
The veteran Green. Bethel Thompson stands in. It's batted down at the line.
Tough to see who was the target there. There was 2 layers of receivers there, but I think it was S.J. Green again on the crossing route. Bethel Thompson trying to, you see how he's trying to look off? That's a good sign that.
And
George Uko got his hands on it.
George Uko with that pass knockdown in his first year at a USC. Second down. Bethel Thompson off to Wilder. Good yardage. Not enough for a first down, though, as he heads out of bounds at the Argo 50, about 3 yards shy in that pickup of 7.
Let me show you that little throw that got batted down again, because this is a good sign for a quarterback in his first start, that he is trying to look off the defense a little bit. And this time Bethel Thompson is going to take the snap and watch him look this way and then come back over the middle. It's a subtle thing, but usually young quarterbacks are locking in. See, he looks hard to his left and then brings it back. Now that he's doing that.
From the snap of Jake Reinhardt, Zach Medeiros with the punt. Chasing Deontay Spencer inside his 10. A 52-yard punt. Noel is down there on special teams to take Spencer down just across the 15. Trevor Harris has been on fire, 11 for 12. Of course, it's Thursday night, and we got Brody Lawson here as well at BMO.
Now, if you guys are into music, hang tight for halftime. Cardinal Official is going to be playing. One more thing you should know about this Teen Tour band. They're the largest youth marching band in Canada. There's 200 of them. There's only 50 here today. They alternate which games they come to, so 200 will be here at the next game. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Brody. I used to play in a band, not a marching band, though. A little bit of a trombone and tuba. Tuba. Well, see, I don't know if Cardinal Official have used for a tuba player, would he? There he is, Cardinal Official. Perhaps not. You play. I know you play great guitar.
Well, a little guitar, a couple chords. 3 chords in the truth. Country music. But I could see you with the trombone. I really can.
Most can see me with the tuba too. I'll tell you that. Seems like a natural. After the Bradsinopoli catch, yet another one for 88, setting up move the chains again. And William Powell, good to see him back in the game.
Yeah, good to see him back in. That he waited out his 3 plays. Looked like it was an elbow or something like that. He shook it off and back in there.
So 2nd and 10. This is the start of week 8, if you can believe it. Here we are in early August. The 4-2 Red Blacks, the 1-5 Argos. Ottawa leading. Looking off. Field side wide open. Deontay Spencer's having himself a half. 21-yard gain. That's his 4th catch. It puts him over 100 yards, and we're still in the first half.
Yeah, clearly this is a matchup with the changes in the secondary. Remember the trade with TJ Heath this week. He goes to Montreal. Ryan Bauman back to the Argos, but TJ Heath means Ronnie Yell in at halfback and Tremaine Washington at corner, although they're going after Darby a little bit.
Handing off to Powell. Oh, the Argos do a good job on him this time for a loss. Once again, middle linebacker Justin Tuggle is in the mix.
I don't know the exact numbers, but it's starting to feel like the time of possession is getting a little bit lopsided in Ottawa's favor. 12:25, Johnny Russin says, our stats guy, to 7:20. So almost double in time of possession. That catches up with the defense.
Decidedly different on this 2nd and 12. But Argo D needing another stop. Harris. Oh, what a catch, Sinopoli. Brad Sinopoli, his finest catch of the night, one of his finest of the seasons, and he has had a whole lot of them to move the chains across midfield down to the Argo 47.
And if he doesn't make this catch, Rod, it's a pick, because in behind him was an Argo defender. That's a one-hander for Brad Sinopoli. One of his best of the season.
14-yard pickup and his 5th catch of the night. Over to R.J. Harris, and drops a couple on that one. Harris to Harris, but that combination not working out that time.
Let's go back to that catch and take a look at Brad Sinopoli. So he just rotates and finds the football, sticks his left hand out there, stabs and brings it in. That's outstanding.
So a loss of 1 on the completion to Harris, but Sinopoli, that 1,000-yard season since coming over to Ottawa in 2015, and well on his way in 2018. On the completion, Deontay Spencer. This is more the Spencer that we got to know last year, and he's also having a big night. 85 and 88, the big targets for the Red Blacks so far.
Well, I asked Trevor Harris about that. I said, you know, Deontay Spencer's not seeing the ball as much. Greg Ellison's kind of struggling a little bit. You know, Brad Sinopoli's having a big year. I said, do you worry too much about that and how you're distributing the ball? He says, not at game time. Game time, I'm throwing it where the defense is saying that is the soft spot. But during the week and what we work on in practice, yeah, we do want to spread it out. We do want to make sure our playmakers get touches, and Deontay Spencer certainly a playmaker.
So we get our first look at Lewis Ward, who was 7 for 7 in Hamilton last week. One of the players of the week. He is 20 for 21. His longest is 47. That was last week.
Yeah, so this is his first kick over 50.
This comes down close to the 52. And the whistles blow as it just looks like they have the fake on there.
Time count violation. Ottawa, number 13. 5-yard penalty remains 3rd down.
It looked like they had something going on special teams.
It sure did. It looked like it was going to be an onside kick, meaning that Rick Campbell gets a couple of players in behind the kicker, Lewis Ward, and as long as they're behind and he kicks it into the corner, they can go down and recover it. You could see those 2 players coming out. They line up on that side and one on that side. Now they're getting in behind the kicker, and then they take a time count. Don't get it executed in time.
So there goes the idea of the field goal. Definitely punting situation now for Leone. Trying to hem the Argos, and Jackson deep, and they do. He bobbles the ball. Live ball. Who has it? A fight for it. This would be an Ottawa touchdown if they have possession. Argo football. Touchdown Ottawa. No, it's a Red Blacks touchdown. First it looked like Argos had it, but it's that kind of game now for Toronto as Martese Jackson tried to field that football, that punt from Richie Leone, and the Red Blacks fall on the ball ultimately.
Well, you admire the fact that he's trying to catch it in the air and not let it go into the end zone. However, the rule of thumb is for a returner, if you're at the 10-yard line or deeper, let it hit the ground and go into the end zone and give up the point. He tried to field it, didn't get underneath it. Chaffee recovers it. I think Pruno was involved in there too. Maybe punched it loose to get it to his teammate.
That wasn't an easy recovery the way that ball was floating around in the end zone. Both teams had a good crack at it, but Jackson misses the ball, and it is costly. And a special teams touchdown. Anthony Chaffee, the Sam linebacker for the Red Blacks, playing special teams, a very good special teams player, one of the leading special teams tacklers in the Canadian Football League. And there's a big fumble recovery. Ottawa taking
decisions, and the decision to catch this, I just wanted to make sure that the ball would have bounced inbounds, and it certainly would have. It was well short of getting to that sideline, so it bounces in. If it goes out of bounds, it's a great coffin corner kick, and you live with it. But if it goes in the end zone, you give up a point and get the field position. We saw Deontay Spencer do it in the first quarter. It turned into a touchdown for the Toronto Argonauts. This one by Martese Jackson turns into a touchdown for Ottawa.
And the kickoff now for Leone. Comes back Jackson's way. So the ball is back in his hands. And he is taken down on good coverage by the Red Blacks. Quentin Gauze, one of the newcomers for Ottawa, and that special team he is wearing number 7, Cardinal Officiel, who will perform at the half. So looking forward to that coming up. Jazz Cartier later in Edmonton to continue the Thursday night concert series when the Riders take on the Eskimos. So McLeod, Bethel Thompson, a gain of 6 for him, but his Argos are in the hole now after that special teams touchdown for the Red Blacks to move ahead 21-7.
Bruno's gutting it out, because I've seen him after a couple of plays now, including that special teams touchdown, still favoring that arm, that wrist.
Bethel Thompson on 2nd and 4. Tries to take off again, but he is taken down, and a flag comes out late after he was down, shy of the first down. Depending on what the penalty is, it would be 3rd down for the Argos.
Yeah, it might be Avery Williams just a little late on the hit on Bethel Thompson. Looked like he was going down, and then
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Ottawa, number 42. 15 yards from the end of the play, automatic first down.
part of the evolution of the game here, because this is not intent to injure or anything like that from Avery Williams. He's just following through, but he led with his forearm. It went to the head of the quarterback as he was being tackled. That's going to be called now. It's the right call to make. Unnecessary roughness and a new set of downs for Toronto.
Pushing the Argos up across their 50 to about the 52.5. Their one touchdown coming on a big return by Martese Jackson, so he's had a big special teams play in their favor as well. One each way, resulting in touchdowns each way. James Wilder Jr. another good gain on first down, close to another first down across midfield inside the Ottawa 50.
And James Wilder very similar to William Powell when it comes to his first 6 games and 6 starts last year compared to this year in his first 6 games this season. And you take a look at the 66 carries compared to 83. Remember, he started halfway through the season, but 700 yards and production dropped way off.
And they give it to him on second and short, and we've seen this happen before too.
Or barely. Might not have.
You were at that game in Winnipeg last week. The Argos lost to the Bombers. They had a 1st and 5. I believe gave it to them all 3 times, or at least the first 2, and they never got it. They turned it over on downs.
Yeah.
That was a big turning point.
Yeah, unheard of really with this runner. I mean, this is now you can chalk it up early in the first 6 starts last year to surprising defenses. They didn't have any video on him. He shows up, he gets the start, and he really changed the Argos season around offensively. But Noel Thorpe knows about him now and is prepared for him. But they lost yards on that last play from Wilder.
Timeout, Toronto.
Toronto taking the timeout just as they were lining up for a 3rd down gamble. It's 3rd and a little bit more than a yard just inside the Ottawa 50. So a big play coming out here. Call it 3rd and 2. It's a little less than that. This would be big for the Ottawa defense. The Red Blacks with a 14-point lead right now. It's been a struggle for the Argonauts, opening up in Saskatchewan, losing to the Rough Riders, coming home and losing badly to the Stampeders when Ricky Ray got hurt, and they went to James Franklin at quarterback. They split 2 games with the Eskimos.
Rod, they just took their short yardage team off the field, and they're going to go for it on 3rd down at midfield here. Looks like they're going to throw it.
Not set up in short yardage at all. Bethel Thompson back. Wilder again, and maybe fooling Ottawa's defense a little bit, or thinking they'd be going to something else, because they do give it to him right up the middle, and they do indeed get that first down.
Yeah, you know what this does is it makes it look like they may throw the football, and if they don't adjust, they will. But they go back to the run. against a regular defense for Ottawa rather than the short yardage defense, which means they'd have bigger people in the middle.
Getting late in the first half, and the first ever CFL start for McLeod Bethel Thompson. Little pop, looking for Armani Edwards, has him open, and yeah, the expression says it all. If he had a do-over there, as that falls incomplete.
Yeah, Monte Edwards tries a double move here, and there's the fake, the shoulder fake to the DB, who bought it and then just missed him on the deep throw.
That look says it all, indeed.
Yeah, I think Bethel Thompson thought he put enough air on that for Edwards to go get it.
2nd and 10. Argos down 14. And that one deflects. Is it picked off? No. Corey Tyndall trying to get it just right off the turf. And so this time it is 3rd and 10, and on comes the punt team for the Toronto Argonauts.
Pocket collapsing on him a little bit there in a high throw, but should have been caught. I'm not sure if the target, the intended target there, had first down position anyway.
So the Toronto drive stalls. Zach Medeiros inside the Argo 50 to punt this one away. 3:23 in the clock until halftime. Ottawa up by a couple of touchdowns, and this time Deontay Spencer has been listening to Glenn Suter. That's probably not true, but we're going to tell the story that way.
Well, it was the right decision. He didn't get the bounce, and you have to live with it now because it's a coffin corner kick. But it is the right call, because if that goes in the end zone, they give up the point. It's not a big deal right now, and they get the field position back, which is much more important. So we've seen 2 bad decisions. This is the right one, and when they made the right one for Ottawa, it didn't turn out right. But
and the look said it all in Spencer's face,
yeah,
too.
Okay, so now I'm doing the right thing.
And you don't get the reward for it. Instead, they're dealing with bad field position again, as they have a couple of times. Once managing to work their way out of it. Offense has been good tonight. That helps. Trevor Harris, 16 of 17. Throwing for the 18th time, throwing deep again. Juan Spencer again, with Jermaine Gabriel right there. Looked like Spencer was looking for a call, but very close to completing yet another deep ball. Trevor Harris to Deontay Spencer. Seen it happen a couple of times for big. I think there's a guy on that panel that can appreciate the efforts of Brad Sinopoli, winning a Grey Cup with him a couple of years ago.
Well, was that the guy that was putting makeup on as a I don't know about this.
I'd say welcome to the TV side, Hank, but he's known all about it for a while.
What's going on?
And a drop there by William Powell.
Okay, here's the thing, Henry. We do wear the powder, and we do have to wear it. We do have to wear it, but we don't let anyone see us putting the powder.
Did Henry wait for the 3-minute warning to decide to powder up?
And to be quite honest, I don't know that Henry Burris or David Sanchez has sung a song yet.
Oh, and that's the rookie initiation.
Yeah,
I remember having to do that years ago.
Yeah, what song did you? What song?
I can't even remember now.
Can't remember your
Thank
song?
goodness my memory's not good. And everybody who had to hear it, thank goodness their memory's not that good either. Punting from the end zone was Richie Leone. Martise Jackson back at midfield. 51-yard punt. The return takes it inside Ottawa territory, down to about the 49. Well, from mic'd up players to behind-the-scenes action, CFL Wired brings you the latest CFL football highlights. You can catch it Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific.
Like that second down, he's got 3 pressures really so far.
Damn, they're challenging for Johnny Manziel already. He's not ready. You ain't made no plays. You just jumping on the offense bandwagon. Jump on their bandwagon.
Between that, you got live mic, coming up later on, but I love that show and all the stuff. Hey, you played. You know that level.
It's must watch.
It really is.
It is really cool, yeah.
Much watch and much listen. CFL Wired. And the second catch for Malcolm Williams of the Argos. He caught the very first pass of McLeod Bethel Thompson for a first down, and that's a pretty good gain right there for the Argos.
This is not a shot on Malcolm Williams, but that's a team trying to find their way offensively that catches a curl like that and turns around and falls down to try and be safe with the positive yards that he just made in the positive play. I mean, when you're feeling it and you're in the groove and things are happening, you turn and make a couple people miss on that kind of throw and maybe pick up another 10 yards like we've seen Brad Sinopoli do tonight.
On second and short. I don't know if they had enough inside the 40. No, another short yardage play for the Argonauts that still comes up shy. It's James Wilder Jr., the ball carrier. Third down.
I'll tell you what, some of those plays too, I mean, we can sugarcoat it all we want, but some of those plays are about want to. And not just for James Wilder. He needs help from the guys around him. Go out and beat your man, and it's a want-to factor. Right now in those short yardage plays, Ottawa's winning it. They want it more when it comes down to 1 or 2 yards, the line of scrimmage.
They were in a similar situation in their last possession. They ended up not going short yardage. Similar setup as now, and getting that first down, and they go to Wilder again. And I don't know. He got inside the 40. He needed more than that. And it looks like that Red Blacks defense has stood strong for a turnover on downs as the offense comes on the field. And just like last week in Winnipeg, Toronto is not able to convert on a third down short yardage.
Well, let's take a look at the battles up front. Let's take a look down in the trenches right in front of you there. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. You got to go and find another color and drive them back. Don't let him reestablish the line of scrimmage behind you, and that's what's happening up front. Noel Thorpe's group is winning the line of scrimmage when there's 1 or 2 yards on the line.
Third time the Argos have turned over the football, and so that really swings the field position too late in this first half. With 1:38 to go in the clock, Ottawa still with some time to drive down and at least pick up a field goal.
Rod, that gets you pumped up when you're down on the bench defensively as much as an interception does. I mean, I know there's a big field position difference when a pick happens, but when you're in 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, and you stop a team that, you know, you feel like you're winning the physical battle, then that's a mental edge that one of the reasons Ottawa's up.
They've been winning that tonight, swinging it out for Powell on the 2nd and 9, and a good tackle in open space by Tremaine Washington, getting the start at the boundary corner after the trade of TJ Heath to Montreal earlier this week.
Great tackle. Good preseason game for Tremaine Washington. One of the reasons that the Argos felt comfortable with that trade with TJ Heath, that they could put him on the corner, that Ronnie Yell could play at the halfback spot. That's a good open field tackle.
And just like that, Toronto will get the ball back, but still lamenting, I'm sure, that third down that didn't work out, that could have put them in Zach Madero's field goal range. Under a minute to go until halftime. Martese Jackson watches it on the hop. And taken down further back after a punt of 53 and chased back inside the 15. Well, Sundays on HBO are the best nights for comedy. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson returns for an all-new season.
Number 49, half distance goal, first down.
For an all-new season of the hit Ballers. It premieres Sunday, August 12th, only on HBO Canada.
Well, when you take a look and evaluate, and I know the guys back in Toronto or at the panel are going to take a look at it. McLeod Bethel Thompson at 50%, 5 for 10, 41 yards, and the interception. Not a great start in his first start.
So with the penalty, the Argos start inside the 10, and it's coughed up another turnover. Ottawa football with 39 seconds left until halftime. Picking up that one, the 4th turnover, and the booze starting to rain out here. That's Jonathan Rose on the fumble recovery for the Red Blacks, already in scoring position now.
How did that come out? Because it looked like that play. Positive yards, good hit by Avery Williams. He took it, but brought Wilder down. Well, definitely ball out as he's going down. Avery Williams strips the ball out from the hands of James Wilder. It's a great football play. That's not giving up because he was the nail there on that hit. Wilder was running over him a little bit. Williams kept battling and trying to strip at the ball and got it out of there.
Turnovers really hurt the Argos last week in Winnipeg, one of many things, and they're really killing Toronto tonight. The fourth time they have coughed up the football, one directly for a touchdown. Wow. This one inside the 20. Harris fakes it and then swings it out to Deontay Spencer. Spencer heading into the end zone for the Ottawa REDBLACKS, padding their lead here late in the first half and making the Argos pay for coughing up the football again.
Boy, that one hurts. That, if you're the Argos, that one hurts because that was a chance to be down 2 scores, go in and regroup at halftime. Turnover, and one play later, Deontay Spencer, who's run this fly sweep before, we've seen it. Now this is the progression from it. Fake the fly sweep and give it to him once he's outflanked all the Argos, including Tuggle, who can't get there.
Second touchdown of the season for Deontay Spencer, his first since their opener against Saskatchewan back in week 2. Lewis Ward on, and Leone the hold on that single point conversion, and it is all REDBLACKS. Complete dominance now in this first half that isn't over yet. And Ottawa, with less than a minute to go in the half, got a turnover and cashed in. Lots of points on turnovers for the REDBLACKS to pull away in this game.
7 turnovers last week for Toronto. 4 already in this first half. They're at 11 turnovers in the last game and a half. The Ottawa REDBLACKS have now scored 14 points off of those turnovers. So without the points scored off the turnovers, it's a 1-possession football game.
Jonathan Rose with a fumble recovery, and speaking of turnovers, he had the first one for the REDBLACKS that game against the Riders when he picked off Zach Caleros back in week 2 for the touchdown. And speaking of Caleros, he was knocked out of the game shortly after and hasn't returned until tonight, later in Thursday night.
I think that was Mark Trestman trying to talk to some of his captains. That's Marcus Ball right there, talking to some of his captains about what might be said at halftime.
Something needs to be. This is a struggling Argo team coming in at 1-5. And really struggling in this game now, down 3 touchdowns. Big return. Jackson still on his feet, bounced off a tackle, gets up across midfield. Martese Jackson with a big play in the Argos' favor, and another big play on the fumble that led to an Ottawa touchdown.
There's time. Oh, sorry, Rod. Go ahead. Yeah, I was just going to say there's time here with this return for a couple of plays. If McLeod Bethel Thompson can get 10 yards on first down here, you got a chance at a field goal, at least to get 3 points back. A couple of big plays by Martese Jackson. Made the one mistake on the fumble, but he's made a couple good returns as well.
It's been a tough night for the Argo offense, and you're right, it was his return that led to their only points of this game, the touchdown to get close. They were within a point then, but 20 unanswered for the REDBLACKS since.
I just watched in the huddle offensively Armonte Edwards start to try and get just sort of rally his offense. I think the captains might have a coaches only meeting at halftime in the Argo room.
The injured player down is Kevin Brown, their starting will linebacker in his second year out of Cincinnati.
Did I say coaches only?
Coaches only, players only?
Players only.
Players only.
Coaches out, players only.
Might be a coaches only meeting too, though.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, in another room.
In another room, yeah.
You get the captain to stand up and address the team, and I wonder if Trestman was talking to Marcus Ball about that on the defensive side, and whether it's S.J. Green. You know, it's hard I think for McLeod Bethel Thompson to be that guy in his first start tonight, but they do have some leadership there. Even James Wilder could stand up and say a few words. I mean, especially when you're talking about those short yardage plays, Rod.
Right. And
you got to go get that yard or
absolutely.
Yard and a half.
No, that's a good point. And for those that point to the quarterback situation and blame the Argo problems now and the injury to Ricky Ray, let's remember that game against Calgary, they were being blown out at the time Ricky Ray got hurt, and their offense was even struggling with their star QB.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
it's been a tough year.
He was 0-1 out of the gate and then got hurt in game 2. Yeah, so boy, the Grey Cup hangover. Do we call it that?
I think you do now. And Ottawa knows all about it. They started 1-6-1, albeit very close games. They were losing last year, coming off of the Grey Cup win in 2016.
There you go. Get out.
Anthony Choppy. And yeah, only 11 seconds to go and getting close. We'll see what Zach Medeiros can do. I'm sure they're just about in range to give that field goal a try.
Boy, it's the little things, though. I mean, this is a good throw and catch here. Now, this is where he's got to get out of bounds. Like, get out of bounds immediately. That extra move cost him 4 or 5 seconds.
Ticking down. They're going to get a field goal try? No. 2-1, there will be no try, and they just let the clock run out instead of considering going for 3. And a flag is down on the field, so perhaps a reprieve for the Argos here.
That may save them.
Certainly not by design, though. That was hard to figure out.
No, that's poor clock management, and that's not on the quarterback necessarily or the coach. That's on the guys with the ball in their hands and decisions that they have to make.
After the play was over, unnecessary roughness, Ottawa number 98.
It is going to save
that will be applied in the second half.
So there you go. We saw this with Montreal last week when the Alouettes had a chance to go for a field goal and they let the clock run out. So points taken off the board, perhaps, as we don't get to see.
It was after the whistle penalty.
What Medeiros can do with it being after the whistle. So an ugly ending for an ugly first half for the Toronto Argonauts. Ottawa would have been a 47-yard try for Zach Medeiros, who hasn't kicked in a while. So yes, it would have been tough, but it was kind of surprising that they just.
You got to try it. And if you're not gonna, it's Hail Mary into the end zone at the end of the half and see if you can't get a penalty or make the catch. But that penalty late in the first half was after the whistle is applied right now.
And so Richie Leone has to kick it off from the Ottawa 20. So good field position to start the second half. The Argos are down. Martese Jackson has the football, gets it up closer to midfield, right near that Toronto 50-yard line for McLeod Bethel Thompson. Not a very good first half for him of that offense. He was 7 for 12 for just 69 yards, and he threw an interception as well.
Yeah, very sort of pedestrian first half for Bethel Thompson, and the running game really didn't help him a lot. Again, full credit to this young but developing and getting better defense every single week. I mean, this Ottawa defense winning the line of scrimmage. Sometimes they're just playing 3 up front.
Starting the second half, 1st and 10. Bethel Thompson to Declan Cross, the fullback, with his first touch of this game, and a good gain on first down. Looking to move the chains, but there is a flag down on the play in the red-black secondary.
McLeod Bethel Thompson is trying to get the options here. This penalty is against Ottawa.
Receiver, Ottawa, number 9. 10-yard penalty, first down.
The penalty was greater than the gain, so they'll accept the penalty. There was some sort of indecision there, trying to decide whether or not to accept it or not. Rick Campbell told me yesterday about his defense. I asked, what's the personality of your defense? And he says, we're together. They're playing well together. That's what we're trying to build.
That penalty against Jonathan Rose way away from the play after the cross catch. S.J. Green, another catch, getting it down to the 35. So a good start to this second half as Toronto will try to chip away after that 15-yard gain to S.J. Green at this big red-black lead.
Best throw of the night for McLeod Bethel Thompson. I know it wasn't a spectacular one. It wasn't a deep post or anything like that. It was a confident throw.
But off the snap, and it was on the turf as Bethel Thompson has to pick it up and maybe pick up a yard there on that first down play.
Shotgun snap, bang on. It wasn't It wasn't on Sean McEwen.
So now second down. And a good catch by Green, who has it down around the 25 and in the area of another first down for the Toronto Argonauts.
One of the adjustments Tommy Condell and Mark Trestman looks like they've made is to move S.J. Green around a little bit more and get him targeted a couple more times. That's a couple on this opening series of the second half.
Well, you talked about how the Argos have been losing this battle on the line of scrimmage, especially in these short yardage rushing plays. This is just inches. This they definitely should get.
James Franklin time,
who has the one touchdown for Toronto in this game in a similar type play, but a flag comes down late, as Franklin did have enough for the first down for the Argos. So let's see what's up this time. Argos indicating it's going against Ottawa.
And if there's Argos fan, you know,
offside, Ottawa, number 42, 5-yard penalty, first down.
The Argo fans that are watching, and they're probably wondering after the first half from McLeod, Bethel, Thompson, do they go back to James Franklin? When Mark Trestman do that? That's not his style. You know, he believes that if you do that in a game, unless it's really ugly, if you do that in a game, you're telling the rest of your team it's the quarterback's fault.
He hasn't played in so long. As he puts it in the hands of Cross again, it gets inside the 15 and gets up, thinking that he wasn't touched after going down, but indeed he was called down there for the McMaster product, Declan Cross.
Last year's secret weapon in the Argo offense. Not a secret any longer, but.
And you're right, they would often go to him in a situation like this, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and you know who he reminds me of? Great fullback for the Edmonton Eskimos, Calvin McCarty.
Oh, yeah.
Just so reliable. When asked to make a play, he does.
On the 2nd and 3, James Wilder with his first touch here in the second half, and a first down. It'll be 1st and goal, and this is the best work by the Argonaut offense in this game.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised at all if it was the players only. Just the simple stuff. Take care of the fundamentals. Accurate throw, fight for that extra yard. There's the old James Wilder Jr. we're used to seeing from last year, fighting for another 1.5 yards, 2 yards.
The only other time they got that close, it was set up by a Martese Jackson punt return. Offense working its way down the field, faking the handoff, wide open in the end zone, and that is the first touchdown pass from McLeod, Bethel, Thompson, and it's S.J. Green on the receiving end.
Well, schematically, the adjustments for Mark Trestman were in alignment to number 19. Move him around, get him involved in the offense. We saw a catch from the slot position. We saw a catch from the wideout position. This was the 3rd progression deep from the wideout position again for S.J. Green. So move him around. Get Declan Cross, the fullback, out there. Helps with protection. Give him that tendency breaker play, and James Wilder also chipped in.
Here we are in week 8, and that is the first touchdown of the season for S.J. Green. Zach Medeiros with that single-point conversion, and this has to be encouraging for a struggling Argonaut team, especially that offense. A 7-play drive. Green suits, gives him the ball.
That's awesome, and this is the first throw in this game for McLeod Bethel Thompson off the play action. Go ahead and run it, guys, where he's outside the pocket. 12 attempts in the first half. He was throwing all of those attempts from the pocket. That's the first time they rolled him out, got him in some open area, and they found an open S.J. Green behind him. Look for Anthony Calvillo, Mark Trestman, and the crew to go back to that.
As Bethel Thompson talks to the great Anthony Calvillo, he was 5 for 5 on that drive. What a stark contrast to the struggles that he and that Argo offense had in the first half. Now 12 for 17 and 113 yards, and yes, a touchdown pass. Still a 14-point lead for Luchez Purifoy and the Ottawa REDBLACKS. Here he is on the return, Purifoy. Over the 30, And finally wrapped up by Cameron Walker and Jeff Finley and company as he is taken down at about the 37.
Well, and Trevor Harris yesterday, when I went to talk to Trevor Harris and get my meeting with him, the first thing I said, "Hi, Trevor." I was walking over to him, and he turned to me and he goes, "We're not good in the red zone." Like he barely
He knew why you were coming.
Yeah, well, I didn't even bring it up. I barely even said it. And they have fixed that problem tonight. I mean, it doesn't mean it's fixed forever. They got to keep working on it, but they focused on it. They made a point of emphasis during the week after those 7 drives finished in field goals last week.
And maybe they were bothered by all the attention the rookie Lewis Ward got last week. We haven't said his name much in this night. Haven't needed the field goals. They've been getting the touchdowns. Some help from turnovers too to set them up. And they screen off to William Powell, who was hurt briefly in the first half, but did come back and has a good gain on first down there for the Red Blacks.
So we had this quick conversation, and once we sorted out the red zone and talked about the issue, and he said, "We're working on this, we're focusing on it." Then I started to think about his training coming into the season. We had a good discussion about what he worked on. He lost 10 to 15 pounds, got down in great shape, and then was injured with that knee early in the season. And that's been frustrating because he wants to get back to being able to run full out.
Dominic Davis, short yardage quarterback, in there for Harris, who kind of backs his way across that first down marker, and so the chain should move. And this drive should continue for the Ottawa Red Blacks as Harris comes back on.
Now he's mobile and he's playing well, and he can make all the throws and roll out and things like that. So he's wearing the knee brace, but like Bo Levi Mitchell in Calgary, the knee is not completely right. I mean, it doesn't look like it is. He didn't say that to me, but it doesn't look like it is to me.
Took a hit in the preseason for Montreal's Chris Aki and missed the rest of it after only playing about 6 plays of that preseason. Throwing here with a flag coming down and completing yet another one to Deontay Spencer. We saw a lot of that in the first half as Spencer had over 100 yards receiving, 126 to be exact.
Leon Lang, I think, was held.
Holding. Ottawa, number 66. 10-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Nolan McMillan with Spencer still down and just getting off the field to the Ottawa sideline. Called for the hold, negating that catch by Deontay Spencer.
That's not a good sign. What happened? Take a look at the holding. There's 66 right in the middle of your screen, and you can see he grabs and turns Cleon Lang. Now what happened to Deontay Spencer? He got Jermaine Gabriel fell on the back of his legs. Here he comes on that corner route, right on the numbers, and fell right on the back of his ankle.
Didn't need to go far to get off, but certainly does need some help right now. He struggles to put his weight on that leg after another reception, but this time negated by penalty in a 1st and 20 for the Red Blacks inside their 40 now. Still up by 14, but the Argo offense showing signs of life now. The blue defense trying to respond. Another screen. Brendan Galanders this time. Good gain. Galanders up at midfield on that 1st and 20. Gets almost the whole 20, but 17 yards, so sets up a 2nd and short for the Red Blacks.
Take a look at a wide shot here. They're going tempo here, but when they move Marcus Ball out of the middle like that to cover, that gives Trevor Harris the tip off that this screenplay is going to be nice, because you're taking a linebacker out of the picture. A guy that could tackle the screen is no longer in the box.
Throwing on the 2nd and 3, off to the left, completing it to R.J. Harris. First down and more for Harris inside the Toronto 30. So with that momentum swing Toronto, Ottawa swinging it right back with a gain of 27. Red Blacks offense on the move.
Good teams do that. You know, that game awareness, that situational awareness where they understand they don't want to give the home team any momentum. If they score on their first drive, good on them, but if you come back with an answer, that's all that matters.
Fourth catch.
Go ahead, Rick.
4th catch suits for R.J. Harris now. And that one the biggest gain of all at 27 for him. And on first down and throwing again. Off to the boundary, Brad Sinopoli. And a short game this time for Sinopoli, who had a very busy first half of 5 catches and 78 yards and a touchdown on that very first Ottawa possession.
You had a chance to talk to Trevor Harris. I mean, and you've talked to him before. You've done some Ottawa games. I feel like he's at a different in a different headspace than he's ever been. And I mean that in a positive way. Just a guy who's kind of blocking out the noise and going to work.
On a 2nd and 8. Completing that one to Greg Ellingson, who caught a pass in the first half and then was stripped of the football. The only Ottawa turnover in this game. But Ellingson, who's had a quiet game so far with a gain of 13, certainly quieter than we're used to from 82.
Nice inside cut. Outstanding throw and timing from Harris. And they're full tempo here.
Down to the Toronto 13. What an answer for the Red Blacks. William Powell in a short gain on 1st down.
Watch what tempo does to a defense, and watch these guys up front on defense for the Argos as they're just going to try and slowly look at them. This tempo, they're trying now to hands on the hips here. When you put your hands on your hips, that's a sign that you're look at them breathing hard. Trying to, what's the call? We got to get the call. Okay, here they go. Okay, get that set up. Just the offense looks crisp, and they're trying to recoup and gather themselves.
9th play of the drive. Harris is 5 for 5 on the drive, throwing for a 6th time into the end zone. Little contact there with Ellingson and catches Vaughn, but it falls incomplete, and it is 3rd down and a field goal situation for Lewis Ward.
Good drive though, and good response to the touchdown to open it up for the Argos. For Ottawa, good teams do that, as I mentioned. Jamie Elizondo, nice play calling, good mix in there. Started with the screen to William Powell.
Very busy man last week at Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton. Lewis Ward tried 7 field goals. He made them all, including one from 47. This one, a chip shot by comparison, just around the 17. One of the leading scorers in the history of Canadian University football. And we have a challenge coming up.
It looks like Rick Campbell wants to.
On that contact in the end zone?
Ottawa's challenging the previous play, but their number 82 was interfered with on the play for defensive pass interference. This is being reviewed.
Mentioned that contact in the end zone, and they want another look as Ottawa. We have a challenge thrown by Rick Campbell, and here is the result from referee Al Bradbury.
After review, the ruling on the field stands of an incomplete pass.
Challenging that Greg Ellingson was interfered with by that man, Cassius Vaughn, but no.
Yeah, and the one look that was most clear was the all-24. That's the only challenge now for Rick Campbell. He tossed that aside. You know, the way it usually works, there's a spotter upstairs, a coach that is spotting for challenge possibilities like that, and that's recommended to the head coach.
Lewis Ward, 7 for 7 last week, 1 for 1 in this game, and 21 for 22 in his rookie season. And a decent answer nonetheless for the Red Blacks after the arc.
Crazy, I loved it. Like the energy was on 10. It was amazing, super dope.
Hip hop has got its roots in New York and LA, so it's got a geographical element to it. Do you feel like Canada and maybe even Toronto has its own sound?
You know what I love is Canada's made up of so many different types of cultures and people that come to this country, and I think that's represented with everything from Jazz Cartier to Jesse Reyes. Like there's so many, Daniel Caesar, so many different things coming together to make an amazing sound.
Cardinal Fischel, we loved it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Brody. Great performance at the half. He mentioned Jazz Cartier coming up in the Thursday night concert series in part 2 of this doubleheader later at Commonwealth and Brickfield and Edmonton with the Eskimos and Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Our diversity is what makes us strong.
Absolutely. And I know you're and we've had some country music, but I know you appreciate
well
what we've done and all types of music.
Absolutely. And next Thursday, Dallas Smith in Vancouver.
Well, there you go.
Procedure. Toronto, number 68.
But
5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what type of music you like, and I love the answer. You know, we're such a diverse country.
Really are.
And different influences, and I'd like to see a push from a little rock and roll too. You know, like a pushback in the rock and roll world a little bit.
A little more our era.
Although New Country is
There
a
you
little
go.
bit like.
Yeah, I know you'd go back there. 2nd and 6 now after the penalty. Argos. How do they respond? After Ottawa's response, Bethel Thompson, who's 5 for 5 in the previous possession, could have been a completion there, but it falls off the hands of the intended receiver, Levi Noel.
Yeah, should have been. That's a catch, and if he turns around and a couple steps forward, he's got that first down.
And instead, Bethel Thompson walks off. Momentum stalling for the Argonauts, trailing 31-14 as Zach Medeiros called into service because of the injury to Ronnie Pepper last week. Winnipeg, and the Red Blacks were close to blocking that Medeiros punt. Gets it away though inside the 15. Deontay Spencer. Deontay Spencer is gone. Chalk up another special teams touchdown for the Ottawa Red Blacks. 87 yards for number 85. Remember that injury before?
I was going to say.
He seems fine.
I think he's fine. I think he's okay. Untouched. I mean, just hit the seam and away he went. Let's take a look. I mean, lots of blocks. Blues following their own color. But the ankle is just fine. Thank you very much. Deontay Spencer to the house.
And Argo fans might remember the start of his CFL career when he did that more often. Big punt returns. He was with the Argos back in 15 and 16 before moving over to Ottawa as a free agent and becoming a bigger play receiver as well. He has good special teams roots, and he certainly showed them there. Deontay Spencer. Punt.
He gets hurt on a play earlier. I want to say it was 5 minutes or so before the big return. Rolled on and barely got off the field. But that ankle is just fine.
87 yards on the punt by Zach Medeiros. And ever since Toronto looked like they were getting back in this game with a touchdown drive to start the second half, it's been all Ottawa. Driving down for a field goal, answering with a punt return touchdown, and Martese Jackson on that return. But Bethel Thompson and the Argos are even further behind now, trailing 38-14.
And you take a look at the last, well, 2 games and now 3 quarters, almost 3 games. The Argos have given up 38, 40 last week. They're at 38 now with lots of time on the clock.
And 2 special teams touchdowns. You had that return, and then you had Martese Jackson fumbling one at the end zone that Anthony Chaffee for the Red Blacks recovered. So it's not just about struggles on offense or defense too. All 3 teams working against the Argos right now. And on the, it's Justin Howell, the rookie from Carleton, who is down. Backup safety who had a little bit of time at safety after a brief injury by Antoine Pruneau, who came back into the game. Mostly a special teamer and getting off on his own steam now. But this Argonaut team is off to its worst start since 2011. 1-5, and we talk about the Grey Cup hangover, but even worse now. Mark Trestman's team last year was as bad as 4-7. As you look at one of the greats all-time, Pinball Clements, looking on now and done just about everything for that organization and has seen good times and bad, and we're seeing bad right now in the 2018 version at this point of the season.
Well, they got a lot of experience down there, and they still have a lot of time in the season.
Such is the nature of the East Division, right? Another 1-5 team, Montreal, looking for its 2nd win tomorrow. And they take on the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who have only 2 wins. So another slow start for the East, and Ottawa looking to run away from everybody else. The Red Blacks right now on pace to improve to 5-2.
Yeah, separating from the group, and that's what you want to do early in the season. I couldn't emphasize enough that Rick Campbell kept talking about how his team, this locker room, has come together the way it has on both sides of the ball. I mean, it's a younger defense than a lot of teams have, but boy, do they play well together.
young and made a lot of changes in that offseason too. Bethel Thompson completing that to S.J. Green, who has one of the Argonaut touchdowns and catching the only McLeod Bethel Thompson, the first touchdown pass that he's thrown, a gain of 16 yards.
Bethel Thompson's been better in this second half. You're just evaluating his performance as the team moves forward. Again, it's not in Mark Trestman's style at all to make a change within the game.
Third quarter moves along. Ottawa's lead's bigger, but this connection with Bethel Thompson and S.J. Green, they've got something going, and a big gain. Argos, their biggest of this game, 48 yards.
Well, whenever you're not picking up first downs, we're talking about the O-line. This was the O-line protecting long enough that McLeod Bethel Thompson could pump fake that, get the shoulder involved with the fake to sell it, and then when S.J. Green does the double move down the sideline, he hit him in stride.
Gets it down to the Ottawa 15. So this is the second productive drive this half for the Argonauts. S.J. Green over 100 yards receiving in this game. An end zone look just before it to Green, but he has a reception down near the 1, and that'll be a first and goal for the Toronto Argonauts late in this third quarter. And Green has become a very busy man.
Just in time. That crossing route. S.J. Green in the second half.
First and goal. James Franklin in to capitalize, and they do. A flag is down, though, and what would be Franklin's second touchdown of the night and 6th on the season. A backup quarterback again, and this
Offside.
evening.
The Ottawa offensive line, or defensive line, the penalties decline. Touchdown.
Hanging that one on the entire Ottawa D-line, so it is indeed touchdown Franklin, touchdown Argos, and trying again to creep back into this game.
Well, there's plenty of time left, but again, when this has happened, Trevor Harris has come on the field, and that's what, again, good teams do, and they come on and they find a response. So Trevor Harris up next. I'll go for 2 here.
Last time the Argos scored a touchdown, they try to get the 2 and they don't. Antoine Pruneau in coverage with a flag down again on S.J. Green. But yeah, the last time, to your point, that Toronto scored, Ottawa, they drove down the field. They ended up settling for a field goal, but they did diffuse a lot of that momentum.
Offside, Toronto, number 19. Penalties decline. That's the convert.
So the 2-point conversion attempt fails, and it's still an 18-point ball game, Ottawa.
Yeah, they ended up with a 3, but they end up with their 3 in the response. But Rod, I mean, you're talking about just eating up some time, taking away the momentum. That was an opening drive in the second half. Touchdown. McLeod Bethel Thompson got S.J. Green involved in that one and in this one, the most recent. A couple of big catches by S.J. This one over the middle. A good timing throw by McLeod Bethel Thompson. Get it out of there. Franklin puts it in the end zone. They don't get the convert. So down by 18 is not unsurmountable. But again, let's see if Trevor Harris once again finds an answer. Kills a bunch of clock. Finishes with points.
James Franklin smiles. S.J. Green, 115 yards receiving and a touchdown on 7 catches. And yes, it is time for the defense now to stand up to an Ottawa offense that has been moving the football very, very well tonight. That man, Deontay Spencer, both receiving and returning too. Takes it down as his 10. Is Luchez Purifoy, the other return man, up around the 25-yard line for Ottawa. Little pushing and shoving there. The 2018 PGA presented by Asante Wealth Management tees off next Thursday with first round action. Coverage begins at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, 5:30 a.m. Pacific. PGA Championship on TSN's 1 and 5.
Better quarter for Bethel Thompson. 122 yards passing in the quarter. He had less than 100 in the first half.
Argo defense trying to help them get back into this game after the Toronto touchdown. William Powell, but here goes Ottawa again. Cassius Vaughn hauls Powell down, but not before another good gain. And another first down for the Red Blacks up across the 35 and a gain of 13.
Their last answer drive started with William Powell. It was a screen play. This is a running play, but it sort of establishes things. Get the big old lineman like John Gott out in front of this play.
Another handoff, and this time going nowhere. Lost yardage. Moving right in is Cassius Vaughn to take William Powell back a few yards.
Like Argo's going with a little more pressure on first down. They just load up the line of scrimmage. Basically a run blitz and keep everybody home to get them in second and long.
Well, here's a big second and long, because if Toronto wants to entertain hopes of getting back into this game with three-quarter time just about here, they need something big on Trevor Harris, who escapes the pressure, and he gets it away, and it's intercepted. The whistle goes. Abdul Kenna, the former Red Black, with the ball, ruling him down, but it is a good way to end the quarter, get down near the end of the quarter with 8 seconds to go for the Toronto Argonauts, and a big turnover.
Boy, sometimes you really need it. Even the veteran and good quarterbacks get in trouble when they roll to their right and try to throw back across their body into the middle of the field. DB's breaking downhill can make these plays, and Abdul Kenna makes it.
Kenna with a big play for the Red Blacks, one of the bigger defensive plays. They helped them win the Grey Cup in this very field 2 years ago. Still some friends, I'm sure, on the Red Black side, but right now for the Argos, and his third Eastern team in 3 seasons with the Ticats last year, helps out Toronto in a big way. They get that big defensive play. McLeod, Bethel Thompson. 1 play to go here in the third quarter. Play action fake to Wilder. Over for Cross, who hangs onto the football. And that's where we'll start the fourth quarter. Argos aren't out of it yet, down by 18, but they've shown the ability to move the football and score some points. 2 touchdowns in that third quarter. There is a flag down.
Contact on a receiver, Ottawa, number 9. 10-yard penalty. First down, 1 more play.
It's the second time that quarter that Jonathan Rose has been called for illegal contact on a receiver, so can't end on that penalty. 1 more play to go until three-quarter time. So scoring position now just about for Toronto. A couple more yards away, you might say, but putting a couple of touchdowns on and moving the ball more impressively. McLeod, Bethel Thompson seems to be settling down. Do they have something in store in this fourth quarter? He takes off. Definite field goal range now for Medeiros, or more, as he gets up and keeps going and gets down inside the 20 before we finally hear a whistle. So what a way to end that third quarter for McLeod, Bethel Thompson, and an injured Red Black player down. A gain of 22 yards using the legs of McLeod, Bethel Thompson, and Argo fans have something to cheer for after this third quarter. Ottawa did respond, but the Argos did more than they had done in the first half, to be sure. S.J. Green on the receiving end. They had another touchdown. Maybe an Argo fan might be optimistic that they could push this thing, get closer. Trying now, Wilder. No. Drop. An end zone look from Bethel Thompson to James Wilder Jr. and nearly gets another touchdown for the Argos.
In coverage was defensive end Danny Mason for the Ottawa Red Blacks. Texas A&M Commerce, the rookie at 235, running with James Wilder down the sideline. He knocked it out. What a defensive play by a D lineman.
And a face full of turf for James Wilder. Just keeps his eyes closed there and pays the price with getting a little bit of sod in there and getting a little bit of help from Chris Van Zyl to clean it up a little bit now on a second down. But the Argos in scoring position. They have it down around the 19 to start the fourth quarter, down by 18 points, and still some dirt got in the eye of James Wilder, one of their most valuable offensive players. Doesn't look like he's going to be available to them on the second down play. Quite a divot taken out by his face mask there.
I've done that to a few tee boxes in my time.
You and me both.
He'll be fine. I just marvel at the coverage by Danny Mason to, to go from that D line. I mean, the guy who's going after the quarterback and battling with William Campbell and Chris Van Zyl all game long, and for him to peel off of there and take James Wilder in coverage and be able to run with him, and then have the composure to strip the ball at the end of that play. That's a big defensive play by Danny Mason.
So Martese Jackson is in for Wilder. Out at receiver, and S.J. Green with a very busy third quarter. Catches that one, not enough.
What do you do now? It's
so close, and they need points. 3's nice. 7 for the Argos. 7 or 8 would be a whole lot nicer at this point.
They're going, and they've not been very good at this 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 situation, but Mark Trestman has gone for it at the middle of the field in the first half, so of course he's going to go now down this close to scoring range. Defense has won this more than they haven't, so let's see what Noel Thorpe's group's got.
What a big third down in this ball game now for the Argos. And passing and under pressure, and gets it away, and another touchdown, S.J. Green.
I had 90 yards in the third quarter. Adds to it here, and another touchdown for S.J. Green.
What a call that was.
Well, and I love the composure. I mean, this is a chance to hand Ottawa the momentum they probably need here to win the game if you don't convert on this third down gamble. But Bethel Thompson felt the pocket collapsing a little bit on him, steps in there with a hit coming, and delivers a precise throw to the outside edge of S.J. Green, away from coverage. Over 100 yards now for Green, and a couple of touchdowns.
Until this game, S.J. Green didn't have a touchdown this season. He has 2. Until this game, McLeod Bethel Thompson had never thrown a touchdown pass, and now he has 2. And Medeiros in the point after with Bethel Thompson holding, no, dinging off the right upright. Medeiros thrown into action in this game for the because of the injury to Ronnie Peffer, and misses what could amount to a big point right there in a 12-point game. Let's get more from the sideline and Matthew Shinetti.
When S.J. Green was a part of that interception, McLeod Bethel Thompson's first interception, right after that, he went to the edge of the Argos sidelines, and he was a solitary figure. Mark Trestman at that point of the game came over to him and spoke to him, put his arm on him, and basically mouthed, from what I could read, it's going to be okay. Throughout the game, S.J. Green has been the guy around the sidelines, and you can see, not very vocal typically, but going around and typically encouraging everyone. As our cameras caught, as he was coming off, you could read, he was saying, "I told you." That basically is an indication of the kind of encouragement he's been giving on the sidelines, and as Glenn pointed out, he's been influential throughout this half. But then again, his coach put a lot of faith in him back in the first half, guys.
Matthew, we wondered what adjustments, what would change in the dressing room, and clearly looking at the Argos in this half, it looks like something did.
Well, S.J. Green did, and he got involved in the offense, and that's been the difference. Over 100 yards in the second half. I'm wondering about the decision to go for the single after a touchdown. With a 2-point convert attempt, you could make it a 10-point game. You miss it, you're still sitting at 12.
Perhaps thinking that the 1 would be the higher percentage. Even with a new kicker in Medeiros, who
illegal kick out of bounds, Toronto 46, first down, Ottawa.
And Medeiros gets penalized for that illegal kick out of bounds now too. So a couple of tough plays for him on special teams. But you're right, could have made it 10. And maybe they're thinking though with the 11, it's still a 2-score game, but you need that 2-point convert later, right? nonetheless, still should be encouraged overall the way their offense is going.
Well, they made it a game. I mean, you know, we're 2 possessions, but the Argos looked like they were out and gone, and Ottawa was walking away with this one. Not so fast.
Off to Spencer. Midfield. Out of bounds. Ridden out by Cassius Vaughn, but another good gain of 14 yards as we look for that Ottawa response we've been talking about after Argo touchdown.
Yeah, now that sense of urgency for the Ottawa response gets turned up a little bit. After the interception, remember, Argos went down, scored, came back. We were looking for the response from Trevor Harris, threw a pick. That turns into a touchdown. Now the sense of urgency is there.
Off to R.J. Harris. Tuggle in pursuit. Can't get him. Hard time for the Argos to get him. What a run after the catch by R.J. Harris, who trips on the feet of his teammate Sir Vincent Rogers in what may have taken a touchdown away for the Red Blacks.
The big man knows it too. I mean, it's good on Rogers for getting that far down the field on this swing bubble screen to the wide side of the field. R.J. Harris doing all the heavy lifting here, and then watch his teammate try and get down there to celebrate with him, cross over behind him, trip him up. You're kidding me. Trevor Harris counted that one. He was counting it.
So instead, a big first down after that long gain. William Powell left, right, left again. Nope, nothing doing. Argos have him wrapped up for no gain. Maybe even a bit of a loss of a half yard.
Boy, that's not going to be a fun one for the Argos to watch defensively in the video later. I forget about Vincent Rogers at the end of that, but just a bubble screen that R.J. Harris takes to the wide side, cuts all the way across the field, and would have scored if not for being tripped by his own player. There's the fatigue on that defense we talked about early in the first half.
And once again, any Argo momentum is starting to get snuffed out by that Ottawa offense. Completed pass, Deontay Spencer inside the 10 on that second down. So what could have been, what looked like it should have been, an Ottawa touchdown is instead going to very likely turn out to be a field goal as the kicking unit and Lewis Ward come onto the field to go for 3.
Trying to do the math here, Rod, but I think Rick Campbell thought about this one. He was taking his time waving that field goal team out there, and he's looking at a 12-point lead. If he goes for it, you're at 18. Field goal 15, you're still 2 possessions here.
Still a 2-score game.
But the other side of it that's never discussed is just the momentum of getting points out of the drive in response.
Well, it has been a good response as Lewis Ward goes 2 for 2 on this night. But there's 3 that should have been 7 or 8 or 6, something more, when it looked like R.J. Ward had a touchdown. Nonetheless, a good response again for the Ottawa Red Blacks. Momentum swings back and forth for the Toronto Argonauts. They've been down the entire night, but not quite out of it yet. They're down by 15, and they've been able to move the football. McLeod Bethel-Thompson looking sharper. We had been wondering about Armonte Edwards-Suits on the receiving end of that Bethel-Thompson pass.
Yeah, another quiet night for him. Targeted 5 times now. That's his 2nd catch of the night. Just 1 catch to this point before that last one. Oh, baby.
What a hard hit on S.J. Green. Jonathan Rose, Anthony Chaffee, the rookie linebacker. A flag is down in the Ottawa secondary as well.
I'm wondering if it's from the hit. It looked like to me the official.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Ottawa, number 9. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Actually, Avery Williams, excuse me, along with Jonathan Rose, but it's Rose that gets penalized.
They must have got the wrong number between the two.
Like 42.
Yeah, the only possible penalty was from Williams, but we'll go back and take a look. It's depending on what happens here.
On the 1st and 10, Bethel Thompson. Good catch by James Wilder, who was out of the game briefly after getting dirt in his eye on a near touchdown catch, but a good catch there.
No, Ottawa fans, Rod, want to take a look at that hit to see why that was a penalty. It looked okay. I mean, it's coming across the middle, shoulder first. I'm just wondering about when Avery Williams, he's done it a couple of times, led with his forearm. You know, like the flipper comes up towards the head.
But the contact didn't look like it was on S.J. Green's head.
And it wasn't led by the crown of his helmet, so that eliminates that part of a penalty. And I'm just wondering if because that one looked pretty clean to me, but the only part that maybe drew the flag was the flipper coming up towards the head and his helmet coming off. Now the result of the play, his helmet coming off, shouldn't matter.
No.
Unless it was forced off by the hit. And I don't think it was.
Wilder on the ground in a 1st down Argos. Trailing by 15. Big pressure there by Purifoy, who's trying to get back, and he does. Lucius Purifoy as Bethel Thompson takes off, and great pursuit by number 5 Ottawa after he was denied the sack when Bethel Thompson stepped up.
Boy, Declan Cross just picked that blitz up in time, or that's a 10-yard loss because of the sack. Watch him come from the left side of the formation all the way across, number 38, and just get a piece of Rose there, push him past him. Or excuse me, Purifoy.
Who does make the tackle, but not before a 6-yard gain to set up a 2nd and 4 for the Argos. Needing another touchdown drive, and they've been able to do it in the second half. Wilder. And on that 2nd down, he is going nowhere. He takes some punishment. Got another injured Red Black. It's Anthony Chaffee, their Sam linebacker, who looks to have hurt his shoulder, left shoulder. He's favoring right now.
Big game last week for Anthony Chaffee. We haven't been able to give you the stats line for him just yet, but he is big game, couple of sacks.
And he is down on that hit still, with his Red Blacks leading by 15 here in the 4th quarter. Last hit on James Wilder.
Yeah, it happens often like this where his own teammate is tackling the running back and kind of throws Wilder into him. So that's the force of 2 men making contact. It looked like early on it might have been a stinger, but they're checking it out, and it's when your arm and shoulder goes a little numb. Hopefully he'll be okay.
Well, the Argos
to see him grinning like that down there.
Playing some 3-down football now on that play. They held Wilder to no gain, so it's a 3rd and 4. No sign of a field goal team. They're going for it. Big 3rd down Argos, down by 15, 4th quarter. Bethel Thompson to take off. McLeod Bethel Thompson using his legs and easily has enough for a 1st down, a gain of 15 yards for the Argos quarterback.
Yeah, I think Danny Mason's been playing very well, but this time he didn't set the edge. You're not going to see him until now. He comes up from the right, and he goes way too high and wide, and he opens up an escape lane for McLeod Bethel Thompson. 54 yards rushing in this game for Bethel Thompson.
Not bad with his reputation as a pocket passer with a strong arm. And he is hit just before he gets rid of the ball, and it is A.C. Leonard coming in with a big sack for the Ottawa Red Blacks.
Little stunt up front as A.C. Leonard is going to roll around here and then come in through the middle. We'll step up the field, and then he rolls around and comes right through that A gap. Tyler Holmes was engaged with the defensive tackle and did not see him coming.
First sack of the game for the Red Black defense. Had a couple of big ones to seal the deal last week on Jeremiah Mazzoli and the Tiger Cats. Under pressure again, and a short pass, and it's nearly intercepted. Avery Williams is there in the coverage, and James Wilder setting up a 3rd down and 3rd and 15 this time.
Avery Williams, you'd be calling 20, 15, 10 touchdown. He just has to hang on to it because there was no one, unless McLeod Bethel Thompson could run him down from behind. He scored.
In his first year at Temple and getting the start in the middle with the injury to Kyrus Hebert, a lower body injury suffered last week against the Tiger Cats. So we do indeed see Zach Medeiros called in with the injury to Ronnie Peffer. This one about 32 yards away to see if they can knock it back to a 12-point Ottawa lead. Straight down the middle it goes. Medeiros, part of the Ottawa REDBLACKS and a Grey Cup champion on this very field back in 2016, getting the Argos a little bit closer. Avery Williams nearly has the pick six. His REDBLACKS still have the minutes on the clock here in the fourth quarter. The Ottawa REDBLACKS looking to up their record to 5-2. They have a 12-point lead on the Toronto Argonauts, who've been somewhat feisty this second half. Not out of it yet, although 12 points is as close as they can get after Ottawa really poured it on in the first half. William Powell, he's had a good night running the football. Second leading rusher in the CFL, well behind Andrew Harris, albeit, but still another good day on the ground for Powell.
Good blocking up front, creating a bubble for him to hit. Nice little delayed cut here, and you can see that nice hole to run into. And John Gott made a nice kick out block.
Their first down, Ottawa. First meeting of the year between these two. The first East Division opponent for the Argos this year. And William Powell is going nowhere. Justin Tuggle's right up in there.
That's a good tackle for Justin Tuggle, who was named a captain for this game, has been in a few games, has played very, very well at the middle linebacker, replacing Bear Woods. But you know, he was a rush in last year and a very good one. And I think they really missed Bear Woods in this defense, and they have through this losing streak 3 in a row. And Bear Woods down on the sideline is practicing. He's getting closer, maybe next week, but they miss him in a big way. That leadership, not because Tuggle's not playing well.
And a sure catch there, normally for Deontay Spencer, falls out of his hands and incomplete.
But his leadership, he is one of those guys. He's the straw that stirs the drink. I mean, he really is. He's got the in the huddle look in your eye where he is 100% committed, and you better be too when he's in that huddle. And again, I think Justin Tuggle has played very well in the middle in replacing Bear Woods, but he can move up to rush in and play in the rotation in that D line when Bear Woods gets back. Not to mention he's got maybe one of the best names in football.
Definitely one of the better ones. Off the Ottawa punt, Martese Jackson now.
Oh boy.
3, boy, they need something big again from Martese Jackson. Had a big punt return to set up a touchdown in the first half. He's still going. Jackson inside the 30, taken down at the 20. That's what the Argos need from number 30, Martese Jackson, whose night gets mixed reviews. Great return to set up a touchdown, and a drop punt that ended up an Ottawa touchdown, but a big one there to put the Argos in business with 3:48 on the clock.
Yeah, the good has outweighed the bad with this guy, no question. I mean, there he is right there. He's going to take this punt. Watch it. Up in the middle, jab step, have nothing at the point of attack. That was supposed to be a short side field return, and he just took it on his own to the wide field. Cut back inside again to pick up a few more, and Argos have a chance to put a major on the board before the 3-minute warning.
70 yards on the return, well over 100 in punt return yardage for Martese Jackson on the night. The screen to Wilder, inside the 15, inside the 10, inside the 5, touchdown Argos.
Possession game.
Not over yet. There's a guy who can appreciate a great punt return to set up a touchdown.
And how about the fight and the dog in James Wilder Jr. right here? Getting the screen pass, gets a couple blocks initially, but then he's got to go and bust off some tackles, break a few tackles to get in the end zone, and he gets it done.
McLeod Bethel Thompson now has 3 touchdown passes, 2 to S.J. Green and 1 to that man, the Rookie of the Year in 2017, James Wilder Jr. And suddenly, yes, a 1-score game. They've got it within 6 points with Zach Madero's out to see if they can make it 5. No matter at that point, obviously needing another touchdown to tie or go ahead in this game, depending on what happens with the point after try here. A little escort there from Brandon Washington for Wilder just as he crosses the line.
How about that reaction in his first start? That counts as another touchdown pass for McLeod Bethel Thompson, who's had a very different second half.
And you had talked about how Mark Trestman is patient and was very patient with James Franklin, giving him 4 starts after he relieved Ricky Ray and McLeod Bethel Thompson. I mean, certainly not a great first half, obviously, but he has really shown signs of settling down. Holding for that point after for Zach Maderos. Up and through again, down to the sideline, back to Matthew.
Well, guys, I know you've been talking about James Wilder Jr. and the slow start he had to the season. I can tell you that energy level, much like S.J. Green's, has been increasing throughout the second half. And after that touchdown, well, James Wilder Jr. came right up to me and said, "Did you see that? Did you see me?" Guys.
We saw you.
We all did. It was him that wasn't seeing for a while after getting the sod in his face and what looked like another touchdown, Chad's earlier on in the quarter. But yeah, we saw it. We see you. And that was a good run on that screen pass he got from Bethel Thompson. It is 41-36 at the half. It was 28-7 for Ottawa, 21-point lead. And that's just about gone. So now the pressure is clearly moving over to Trevor Harris in that Ottawa offense as the Argos, the double blue on D, need another stand here now with 3:09 on the clock, but don't go away.
Well, this has not been because Ottawa has blown it or Ottawa has, you know, sort of played over conservatively or anything like that. This is just some big plays being made, and it's a 1-possession game.
And they kick it deep. It's down to Purifoy, who bumps into his own man and then gets across the 30 and then taken back. Robert Woodson with a good special teams tackle there on Luchez Purifoy. So out comes Harris and the Ottawa offense, and suddenly they're in a football game. Their lead is down to 5.
And all of a sudden that play to R.J. Harris that looked like was going in for the major when Sir Vincent Rogers tripped him up, that turned into a field goal. Now you're talking about a very different story.
Special teams tackle there on Luchez Purifoy. So out comes Harris and the Ottawa offense, and suddenly they're in a football game. Their lead is down to 5.
And all of a sudden that play to R.J. Harris that looked like was going in for the major when Sir Vincent Rogers tripped him up, that turned into a field goal. Now you're talking about a very different story, and that's a much bigger play. Let's see what Trevor Harris has. He's come from behind already this year against the BC Lions in the fourth quarter. He's not behind now, but to seal this win.
Just a much closer game than we could have imagined when the second half began. So throwing, old reliable, not too old, young reliable Brad Sinopoli in the receiving end, up near first down yardage, just shy by about a yard. Under 3 minutes, down to 2:39 on the clock as they do issue the warning now. Toronto Argonauts, they were down by 3 touchdowns. They've scored a bunch of them in the second half, the latest by Wilder from Bethel Thompson. We got a 5-point game. And Kate, back here, we got a game at 2:39 on the clock at BMO Field. It's 41-35 Ottawa. They led by as many as 21 at one point in this game, but the Argos with McLeod Bethel Thompson and that offense have been chipping away at it, and good performance on both sides of the ball to get them closer, and they need a defensive stand now, but it is second and short after the Sinopoli catch. So Dominic Davis is in, and he has the yard to move the sticks, and a first down for the Red Blacks, who now want to kill some clock. 2:20 on it right now.
Don't know about you, Robbie. This to me feels like Sinopoli time. The way this season has been going, and Trevor Harris and how much he's relied on Brad Sinopoli in key situations. Having said that, Greg Ellingson had a down day against BC and made his biggest catch when they needed it in the final drive.
And the biggest lead actually in the second half was even more, was 24 points, 38-14. Down to 5 now, and Harris on that first down. Nobody home, and that falls incomplete, second down.
Yeah, he threw that away in between the two receivers. Would have taken a sack.
Certainly a night of momentum swings.
Well, I tell you, you hear it all the time. 3, 4, 5 plays that make a difference in a ball game that can happen at any time. I would suggest this is one of them.
2nd and 10. REDBLACKS 40. Dumping it off, intended for Spencer, falls incomplete. Ottawa will punt with just under 2 minutes to go on the clock, and Bethel Thompson will get the ball in his hands. Toronto has a chance.
Boy, and you got to believe that the Argo D-line had to reach down deep here to collapse this pocket the way they did and force a rush throw from Trevor Harris that he just wasn't accurate enough on. That was from the push that D-line got.
Martise Jackson. 2 big punt returns to set up Toronto touchdowns. One in the first half and one the last time he fielded a punt. Takes that one at his 20. And a short gain this time. And you're right, what you said about him, Suits. The good has outweighed the bad. Those returns helping Toronto's, that last one especially, get closer into this game and giving them a chance. 1:45 on the clock for McLeod Bethel Thompson.
First start. Down by what? 21 at one point?
24.
24 at one point. You got a chance with 1:45 to move it down the field and win the football game. That's all we're asking. That's all the Argos are asking.
That's it. He's been handed a situation I'm sure he's thought about many times. Only a 3-man rush. They drop back into coverage, and there is contact down at the 50. The crowd wanting a flag, and there is a flag. Will this go against Jonathan Rose?
Might be incidental contact in the 10-yard version. It looked like
accidental pass interference, Ottawa number 9. This is a 10-yard penalty with an automatic first down.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looked like the receiver tried to cross over Roses and get in behind him, and when he did, he tripped. Armani Edwards, he tried to come back and cut underneath to get to the football, and he just tripped over the back of his legs. Accidental pass interference, 10-yard penalty, not point of foul, so it takes away some field position, but a first down.
Bethel Thompson to Rodney Smith. I was wondering when I'd get to say that name. Never get tired of it. And that's Rodney Smith's first catch of this game, and it's coming on a very important drive for the Toronto Argonauts. The product of Florida State in his first year, and then running tempo on that 2nd and short, and a first down carry there for James Wilder Jr.
Plenty of time to keep that in the arsenal as they attack. Mark Trestman calling the plays. And where's S.J. Green, and what's Ottawa going to do to roll to his side? He's to the wide field.
Ball up near the Argo 50. Down by 5. 1:16 on the clock. And out again, Levi Noel across midfield. And very close. A gain of 9, so it'll be short yardage situation there. A 2nd and short, just inches away from moving the sticks again. Still over a minute to go. In tempo. That 2nd and short. Wilder, first down, a little bit more. And they got it to the 45. They're moving the football. 1:05 on the clock. They need a touchdown. But they've been able to produce them in this second half, starting with that first possession for Bethel Thompson, who went 5 for 5 as they finally showed some signs of life. Under a minute. Clock ticking at BMO. steps up, completes it. Malcolm Williams.
There you go.
And he gets out of bounds around the 35.
Challenge for Noel Thorpe here is to try and get his guys to play as aggressively as they've played pretty much all game and get up there and challenge these receivers. You don't want to give up the big play behind you with this much time left on the clock in one throw, but at the same time, there's lots of time to keep nickel and diming it like they're doing. Though that's a challenge for the secondary for Ottawa right now.
There's some drama now we had no reason to suspect a little while ago. Second and short, and passing on that second down. And under pressure and taken down as he gets rid of the football. Like George Uko in there at the ankles of McLeod Bethel Thompson. So it's. And they're calling it. Are they calling it a sack?
No, the Ottawa Redblacks want this to either be called a sack or intentional grounding, but you're going to see Declan Cross right here hustle to get in position so he's an intended target. The rule here is if the ball does not cross the line of scrimmage, there's got to be a receiver close by. Doesn't look like he was down, but Declan Cross hustled to get back close enough to that football.
They ruled it a sack by Uko.
Timeout, Ottawa.
And Ottawa takes a timeout, but what a big play that was defensively for the Redblacks, pushing the Argos all that yardage back to a 3rd and 7 instead of what would have been a 3rd and inches.
So they did rule this a sack.
They did indeed.
Well, let's take a look back. I mean, Rick Campbell doesn't have a challenge. Let's take a look here. Go ahead and run it. Was Bethel Thompson down by contact here before he got rid of that ball?
Knee down, ball's out. And it is a challenge, I believe, by the Argos. They're the ones that still have the challenge left.
Exactly.
It looked like the ball was out of his hand by the time the knee touched.
Just trying to.
We're talking about a difference between 3rd and inches and 3rd and 7 with the ball game on the line. They haven't officially announced what the challenge is. We have to assume
it's down by contact or not, but because Declan Cross was close enough to not draw the grounding penalty.
And it looked like the ball was out of his right hand before that knee touched. Although it was very, very close.
There is an element of in the grasp.
On the previous play, the quarterback was ruled down by contact. By booth review automatically, he was not down. This will be changed into an incomplete pass with number 38 in the vicinity. Therefore, we'll go to the PLS, the previous line of scrimmage, be 3rd down.
Okay, so that was the discussion because that's true. Inside of 3 minutes, it's automatically reviewed, not necessarily have to be challenged. So Mark Trestman will keep his challenge.
So a good booth review to show that it was an incomplete pass. He did get it out in time, and what a difference. Instead of 3rd and 7, they need a touchdown. 29 seconds on the clock, but just inches away from at least getting a new set of downs here at the Ottawa 35.
Yeah, you get a new set of downs. You got time for 2, depending on how long this takes, but it shouldn't take long. But you get time for probably 2 plays.
Coming up, part 2. Saskatchewan at Edmonton, but this one not quite over yet. A 3rd and inches.
Mark Trestman's talking about when they get it, and that's how you talk if you're the Argos. If you're Ottawa, you're talking about to your defense. Stop them here. These 3rd and inches or 3rd and yards have not been gimmies for the Argos offensively. But S.J. Green and Mark Trestman were talking about, okay, once we get this 1st down, here's the play I want for 1st and 10. from what would be about the 35-yard line, 34-yard line.
So first they got to get the first down. And then you have to think some end zone looks are close to it with so little time remaining. What a finish we have in this first game on a Thursday night when it looked like an Ottawa blowout. The Argos with McLeod Bethel-Thompson in his first ever CFL start showing a lot more poise in that second half to get within striking range. But as said, the field goal of course is no good. They need to find the end zone and they got about 29 seconds to do it.
200 yards passing in the second half for McLeod Bethel-Thompson.
I'm told the holdup is they're confirming the time on the clock at set right now at 29 seconds.
And it looks like they're making some sort of correction here, or at least double checking with that. And that's another area where the video official back at CFL Control can go back and take a look at it, make sure they get it accurate, whether it's less than 29 or more, that they add a couple of seconds. Either way, make sure they get it right, plus the spot of the ball before they sack.
Quite a game of momentum swings both sides. A great performance by Ottawa offensively in the first half. We've had special teams looming large. 33 seconds, so they've added 4 seconds. How big is that for the Argos as they get ready for that third down?
Well, might squeeze a third play out if necessary.
We've had big punt returns on both sides. A couple by Martise Jackson. One for a touchdown by Deontay Spencer. James Wilder is... he doesn't look stressed right now. He certainly looks fired up. Wanting another chance. He had the last touchdown to get the Argos this much closer as they look for their second win of the season. Their only victory coming against Edmonton 4 weeks ago here at BMO Field.
Well, if Ottawa plays that similar defense they played at this point in the field earlier in this quarter, remember when James Wilder Jr. ran that wheel route and he was covered there by Danny Mason? They're not going to do it on this third down, but if Noel Thorpe goes with a similar look and asks the defensive lineman to cover him, don't be surprised at all if Mark Trestman tries to get that matchup again. Now, I'm not sure that Noel Thorpe would do that. He got away with it once.
But as you talked about, looking at the conversations with Trestman on the sideline, they're locked and loaded for another play, of course, assuming they just got a couple inches to go, and then time is at a premium here from 29 now to 33 officially on the clock. And this is a game, as you see Trevor Harris talk things over with his OC, Jamie Elizondo, that they had no reason to think it would be this tight a little while ago when they led by as many as 24. Are we finally ready to play again? This final minute taking an eternity. But there is drama. And James Franklin is in the game on this third and short yardage situation. Franklin has a couple of keepers for a touchdown in this game, losing his starting job to Bethel-Thompson, who's performed so admirably in the second half for Toronto.
Well, I'm not really sure what they could possibly be reviewing now. I mean, it's time to get on with things, and you check the clock.
Now, are the Red Blacks arguing why the time changed?
Well,
I can't think it.
This is over. The play is over. Whatever is over. This is delay of game now, and it's time to play football with the game on the line and 33 seconds to go. There we go. Blow it in. Let's play.
Finally. 33 seconds. Third and inches. Wanting to get the first down. New set of downs. Franklin to his left indeed has that and more. So inside the 35. 30 seconds on the clock. Back comes McLeod Bethel-Thompson to see what he can do in a half where he's already done a lot. He and that Argo offense. Defense has been stronger.
Lots of time for Mark Trestman to talk to Bethel-Thompson about what plays selection, and now Argo fans thinking that this is deliberate to try and get a stoppage. I'm not sure they'll really, after that long delay, that this would be an Ottawa Red Black faking it, and they've Williams. I don't think he'd be doing that, especially that now he's got to take himself off the field for at least 3 plays. That's your middle linebacker gone.
So number 32, Quentin Goss out of Rutgers coming on. Was in the National Football League. Goss, I mentioned earlier, a teammate, of course a teammate of Chaffee now, but a college teammate too. They both went to Rutgers. Goss a year ahead of Chaffee, and here they are in the linebacking core for the Ottawa Redblacks. So he's put into a pretty interesting situation here now.
Unlikely that they're going to run the ball though at that middle linebacker, although he could be isolated in coverage, possibly on James Wilder Jr. out of the backfield. Pruneau will stay deep. Make sure he helps his halfbacks in the short side corner. That's the responsibility of the free safety in man-to-man. Let's see.
Here we go. Clock ticking. Under 25. Bethel Thompson. Complete. Near another first down. Noel gets it down around the 23. 18 seconds. Is indeed a first down. Argos coming up to the line. McLeod, Bethel Thompson, age 30, so not a raw rookie, but his first ever CFL start, and looks to the end zone. No, it's past Levi Noel with Luchez Purifoy there, so we're now at second down.
Second down, but with the incompletion, a chance for Bethel Thompson to call the play in the huddle. That's one he had to hustle because it was a tackle inbounds. Clock started as soon as Al Bradbury blew his whistle, just like that. So doesn't start until the snap of the ball after the incompletion. Maybe 2 plays.
Longest drive for Toronto tonight. This is the 11th play. Ottawa trying to hang on and improve to 5-2, and the whistle goes.
Timeout, Ottawa.
Before the ball is snapped, and yet another delay now with a timeout called, with the last one for the Redblacks, and fans here at BMO letting Rick Campbell hear about it.
Yeah, you know, but this looked like it was out of necessity. There's a discussion going on in the secondary over by the close to the Ottawa bench. There's 3 players involved. Rico Murray, one of them. There you are. And Jonathan Rose.
Sherrod Baltimore in there.
Yeah, trying to make sure they were straight. I think they looked to the sideline, and Rick Campbell called the timeout because they didn't look like they were sure on the coverage. You don't want to cut someone loose here.
9 seconds. Second down. Might be time for 2 plays. Barring penalty, that'd be about it for McLeod, Bethel Thompson, and the Argos to score the winning touchdown. Otherwise, Ottawa improves to 5-2 and gets an early stranglehold in the East. Bethel Thompson at his 30, under pressure, gets it away into the end zone. Touchdown, Argos. Armonte Edwards. What a finish. What a comeback. And Toronto takes the lead with 1 second to go in the clock. Wow.
And no flags, and Rick Campbell does not have a challenge. Bethel Thompson buys some time, just adjusts his launching point just outside, throws it up for Armonte Edwards, and does he make the catch and keep a foot in bounds? Control, 2 feet in bounds. That's a touchdown.
With Corey Tyndall right there, Armonte Edwards with the biggest catch of the game. And the biggest touchdown pass thrown for McLeod Bethel Thompson. Only 4 in his CFL career. They've all come in the second half of his very first start. And a conversion try here for James Wilder, but seemingly a moot point right now, although we do still have 1 second to go on the clock.
Well, and they go for that 2 points because, you know, these 2 teams are in the same division. They play again. Total points may matter late in the season, but how about Bethel Thompson? Second half, after a very pedestrian first half, he settles in over 200 yards passing, 233, 4 touchdowns, say one thing, he just earned another start, didn't he?
I think he did. That kind of poise he showed, especially on that final drive. 2 of those touchdown passes to S.J. Green, 1 to James Wilder, and 1 to that man, Armonte Edwards, who did not have a big night, but he does have the biggest play so far. 4 second-half touchdown passes as the Argos come back. And for Mark Trestman, he's had a lot of big wins in his career. I don't know where this one would rank as regular season games go, but with their season going off the rails early, albeit early, how big is this win going to be?
And he was asked yesterday if he was starting to question the message. And he said, well, we'll find out how they respond in this game. It's either all for naught or they're believing in what we're doing and what we're talking about. And it looks like they do believe. Down 24 in this one. Came all the way back.
Whistles go before Medeiros can kick that football.
Toronto.
So with 1 second left, this final 30 seconds has taken an eternity to play, with another timeout coming here.
Well, what they're trying to alert the Argos are, trying to alert their kickoff team that Ottawa may try to kick it back, keep some people onside and kick it back. If those onside people can recover it, they can go in and score. Unique rule in the Canadian Football League.
And for every great comeback is a great collapse, and that's all the Red Blacks see it as now. Once up by 24, and due now to fall to 4-3 when it looked like victory was in their hands, hanging by a thread.
And how about the trip? R.J. Harris went his trip by his own teammate.
Did that ever loom large? And you're right, attempting to kick it back in now. And the Argos just take it, and they just go down. And they've won a football game. The unlikeliest of victories at one point on this night. And what a debut for McLeod Bethel Thompson. 4 touchdown passes in the second half. And it is time now for the Nissan Titan Player of the Game, brought to you by Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the CFL.
First start for the 30-year-old McLeod Bethel Thompson out of Sacramento State. Boy, he's been patient, he's been persistent, he's waited for his opportunity. Not a real good first half, but he bounced back in a big way. Over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns in the second half. Incredible comeback in the first game as a starter for McLeod Bethel Thompson.
It was 38-14 Ottawa in the second half after that Deontay Spencer 87-yard return for the touchdown. Back came the Argos, showing life this young season, the defending Grey Cup champions, with just their second win in 2018 to improve to 2-5. Ottawa falls to 4-3. We got another game going on as we send you back to Kate Burness.